guys, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Music or Hideout, the show where I hang out with artists, musicians, and entertainers in Waylon Jennings' old basement studio. As always, I am gathered here today with co-host Ryan Poole, who I'll pass it to introduce the guests.
Well, tonight, on a very special episode of Christmas Row Hideout,
So special.
we have Ian Meeks.
Well, hello.
And Ian is also known, starting tonight, by the moniker... Wait. Don't tell me. don't tell me. Fowl Play Presents, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Spelled fowl like the bird.
Yes.
F-O-W.
For reasons
correct.
which will become clear.
Yes.
You'll find out soon.
And Ian is also a professional dance instructor. And are you a professional dancer too? I don't know how that works. What does that mean?
It's so what's interesting, think of it as trying to relate it to, okay, you got musicians and you got folks that are jazz musicians, like that's just what they do, or classical, like in their classic music. And then you have like commercial, so rock, pop, all the others, right? Ballroom dancing, which is what I do, so partnership dancing, a ballroom Latin swing, that's what I do. And then there's like what's called commercial dancing, which is like tap, jazz, ballet, hip hop. It's huge. Anything you see in a music video or things like that. So they're just separate worlds, you know. So I teach people how to dance. So typically it's like just your Joe Schmo coming off the street and they're like, I want to learn a waltz. And so I'll teach a couple. I'll teach the ladies one-on-one, whatever. So it's all private lessons mainly. And so I teach you how to swing dance or whatever you're wanting to do. And then I have some students that will do, and this is all ages, like I have students that are 15 to 85, like all over the place. Yeah. So and then I'll also, to answer your other question, I'm also a competitor, so I compete with my students, so for them, and then I also compete professionally. So I have a pro partner, she's also a teacher as well, and we practice and then we go and we compete against other pros. So
That's awesome.
So is it kind of like, I mean, my only frame of reference for that is the movie Silver Linings Playbook. I think it's
nice.
Is that it? Yes. Is that the right movie? Is that the movie I'm thinking of?
Yes.
So it's like that, like the similar kind of competitions.
So that's a competition that it's a little less movie-esque in a sense of during the day. That's when like we have one coming up in January here in town, and I'll start dancing with students at like 8 a.m. and it'll go throughout the day, and I'll compete with each of them. I have like 7 or 8 that are dancing, and then Friday and Saturday night I'll compete with my pro partner. So we're kind of like the entertainment for the students.
So you are actually part of the competition for all your students as well.
Oh yes.
Oh, so by the time it comes up to you, you've got to just be exhausted.
That is correct.
That's brutal. All day.
You know, you just kind of learn, and you train, right? You just train to, your body gets used to things really quick, right? So faster than we give it credit, I think, of just kind of, you learn to, when it sucks, like you just kind of push through, and the next time it's not as bad. And your prep is huge. So how you prepare for it, that's everything. Like not just eating and drinking water, going to sleep, all of that, but also like I practice the month before, like when my students are coming in, I'm getting them ready for the marathon as well. So like it's no longer teaching time, it's now go time. It's now like they show up, I'm like, you warm up before we start, let's go, you know, if they're the ones that compete. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure not all of them do.
Nope. I have about 30 clients, and I would say about a third of them, about 10 compete.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a huge percentage.
It is because I compete a lot professionally and also with students. I've had students start taking with me because they want to compete, right? So like when you start putting yourself out there, they start seeing it and they're like, well, I want to dance with that guy. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it with somebody who's their style, if you will.
Right, and doing the thing they want to do.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because I imagine if you're interested in the competitive side, you're a competitive person, and that's what you want. That's what you like. That's what you need out of it.
I do. Yeah, like you definitely have to. Every studio is a little different, and how they run their business. But like the one I'm at is a very competitive studio. Where actually this year we were just there's a circuit that goes from December to November. So it's called Ohio Star Ball, and there's this big circuit and all this. There's also the U.S. Championships. Another time we'll talk about it, or later. But the whole point is we're now number 3 in the nation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It's humongous. And that's with students. So they get points when they get first place, or if they get second place, they get a few less points. Like first place is 8, second place is 5. You know, all that and down, and it always goes up to top 6 for this stuff. Anyways, so yeah, we're 3rd right now, so it's just we're getting a lot of traction in that small niche of a world, because it's like most people don't even know that there's a competition happening in January, and it's the largest one in the U.S. in January.
Oh wow!
You know,
so you're gearing up for that now.
Yes,
you're like getting ready for that competition.
Yeah, I've already gotten everybody like signed up. Whoever's doing it, I have like a 2-month minimum. Like I'm like, you got to tell me 2 months beforehand, because I got to make sure that you're in a good place and that I can prepare. And if you need to book a hotel, book flights, if we're going somewhere, like we're going to San Diego and you go to New York in February, and then San Diego in April, and then more the rest of the year. But
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
Okay, so I wanted to insert, this is a bit of an aside.
Yes.
But for everybody who's listening right now, if you normally listen to our podcast and you don't watch our podcast, this is the one to watch. You need to switch over to Spotify or YouTube and watch, just to see how fucking Christmassy we made this room.
Yes, it is fabulous.
Yeah, it's red and green.
Oh man, it's
The
so
snow
nice.
is falling.
Yeah,
right.
yes, it is.
Wait,
Now?
It's now. Is it going?
Is it going? Now?
Now it is.
Christmas lights that are not illuminated because of how they fuck with the cameras.
Yes.
That sucked.
Yeah. And also, in just a few minutes, Ian's going to give a performance that is also very Christmassy.
Yes.
And the way I want to segue to this, so we actually met because my girlfriend heard about the Ballroom Nashville, right? That's where you...
We met, she and I both met at church, right? Because we were volunteering together.
You're like greeters or something?
Yes, correct. We're the greeters. We say hello to
I've
people.
never seen her be a greeter.
So, she's done it a few times. Don't give her too much crap. But yeah.
I've never seen her volunteer.
Never seen her do it. So yeah, that's where we met. And then she got to know my wife, Jessica, really well. And they became friends. And then she was like, well, meet Ryan. And then she's like, we should go dance or something. I don't know how that
so
started.
the first time I met you, I didn't know that she knew you already. Oh. So we like showed up to it's called the Ballroom Nashville, right?
The Ballroom of Nashville.
The Ballroom of Nashville.
Yeah.
So we showed up and she's like, there's this dancing thing tonight. And it was like an hour or less.
Yeah.
It felt like
to an hour.
10 minutes because you just did like 60 seconds of every dance, or maybe it was a little more, but it was just so quick. Like we'd walk in and then you were like kind of our main guy showing us all the steps, and you're like, okay, now do this. And then like somebody would grab my hand, somebody would grab her hands, then you'd have us do it, and then you'd show us, and we'd dance for like 35 seconds, and then it'd be like, all right, guys, great, everybody, yay! Good job, everyone.
Yes.
All right, now the Roomba. And then there would be like the same thing.
Yeah.
And I thought, it was really fun. It was like a very like, if anybody's in the Nashville area wants to try out dancing, it was like a really fun way to dip your toes. It was like Thursdays or something.
It's Fridays. On a Friday. Fridays. It's the first Friday of every month. We call it Newcomer Night. So it's designed that we have a couple teachers that are there just to literally just kind of push you into the pool, if you will, of like, just do it. Don't worry about trying to learn anything. Literally just do it. See how easy it is to do it, because it's not crazy hard to learn steps. You know, steps aren't the hard thing. It's just like learning something on guitar. What's hard is learning the finesse, learning how to do it. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Same thing with dancing.
And I'll say it was a really fun environment to learn it in, because it felt very like childish in a way. It reminded me of being a kid, because after every dance, all the instructors were like clapping, great job, everyone, fantastic. And it was like so over the top encouraging. But I think for me, and probably for most guys, you kind of really need that.
Yes.
Because you feel so awkward and like you don't know what the hell you're doing.
So awkward.
And so even though like a small part of me felt pandered to, like I definitely feel like a child when it comes to like trying to dance.
Yeah.
So I kind of needed
the yay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I call it in my head. I'm like, the yay factor.
And then after that, we took a few dance lessons.
Yeah.
And so here's my segue. So, like a few months later or whatever, Jury and I were going to a Christmas pop-up bar with some friends. Wesley was there too. Wesley, you want to test out that mic and just let everybody know you're here?
How you doing, y'all?
Ooh.
Remember when we went to the Christmas pop-up bar?
Which one?
Yes.
How many did you go to? What was that? The
Christmas pop? We didn't go to
yeah.
this year?
We
We didn't go to Christmas pop art
Was
this
it like
year.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Oh, you mean for Halloween?
Oh, was that Halloween?
Yeah, we went to Halloween
was
pop-up
Halloween.
bars. We went to Christmas pop-up
Oh.
bars like 2 years ago.
Did we do Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah, it was Nightmare Before Christmas at the Dream Theater. Dream Hotel, not Dream
Ah.
Theater. That's a band.
Yeah.
And then we
crazy.
tried to go to the underground one at the Noel next door, but they weren't themed for some reason, which is some bullshit. Because
Yeah.
they're always themed. It's like a dope
Yeah.
place if you've never been there.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Kung Fu Saloon, had a
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. Oh,
Yeah.
it wasn't Night Before Christmas. They were both Beetlejuice.
They're
themed.
Beetlejuice. Okay.
Both of them, yeah.
All right. So
Which
I
is
made
weird.
up that
Whatever.
it was Christmas. It was a Halloween.
You're
Anyway,
just
we
so
went to
excited about Christmas.
Yeah. So we went to a pop-up bar, and on our Uber ride there, I was like, "You guys, check this out. What I'm about to tell you sounds like a crazy acid dream, but it's real."
Sorry.
But earlier today, at the studio, my dance instructor came, and he performed a Christmas song, except instead of singing the Christmas song, he did only the sounds of a chicken.
And we were just all like,
And he
I'm
paid
sorry, can you
me
say that
money.
one more time?
And then we had a beer.
These are true things.
Our Uber driver was very intrigued.
Yeah.
And so,
Did you play for him?
Yeah, you play like a little on the phone.
on my phone, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're in the Uber, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, we'll probably talk more about it afterwards, but
Yes.
if you want to give like a quick segue into
And then we'll
Yeah.
play some of it.
the Fowl Play Presents.
Presents.
Very good.
It's only 3
Foul
words.
play is
3
taken.
words, Ryan.
You know, It's like, I don't know what to do.
And foul play is already like a phrase.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Well, I want to call it Carol of the Fowls, but that's the song.
That's
not
the song. Yes.
Not the band.
Well, and the album's called A Cage-Free Christmas. It's full of just absurdity. So the story is it's a little longer because this whole thing started back in 2012, but we'll get to more of that in just a little bit. So it was a joke between my family. Decided to I was talking about with some buddies of mine that are really good friends with my brother that I've gotten to know. My brother's also in town, been here for 20 years in the music business, and so I'm just hanging out with all of them. I was telling them this like idea that I had of singing Christmas tunes as a chicken, and they just started you start laughing. Like everybody starts laughing because it's stupid. Like I just want to admit this right now and like get this out of the way. It is dumb, right? It is so dumb, and it is fantastic. It is one of my favorite things because there's nothing like somebody who's been a performer for over 20 years, whether it was music or dance or anything, acting, did all that stuff, and it's so fun to do something that is just frivolous and enjoyable. So just decided, and they were like, "We're game," and I was like, "Okay." So I recorded, and I redid this one with Ryan because the way we did it the first time was okay. The punchline didn't hit. It wasn't funny. It was too well done, right? I needed it to be a little dirtier, right? And so did that with Ryan, obviously, but a couple years ago in 2017, I did 3 other songs, 4 technically, kept 3 of them with full band and everything. So
yeah,
but-
let's not give much more away
Okay.
before we hear it.
Yeah.
And we really got into the spirit for this one. So without further ado,
Fowl Play presents Carol of the Fowls.
And we're back.
all right, that was majestic.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Now, for everybody who's watching, you'll see that you saw that this isn't the case, but in my head, how I envisioned that performance going, and I told you this before the show, but I envision you like in like a suit, but not the one with what do you call that on a tuxedo? The tails?
Tailcoats.
Yeah, in a tailcoat, walking up very austere.
Oh, I thought when you were saying earlier you imagined him in a chicken suit.
No, although that's great too. No, I saw him in a full tuxedo,
Gotcha.
like fully
Yeah.
hamming it up that this was about to be a very serious artistic performance.
Yes.
And then there's a conductor, and we have a whole full production staff that's like doing the whole 3, 2, 1, the whole bit, and then Carol of the Fowls happens.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. That sounds like an SNL skit.
Yes.
That's what that
Yes.
sounds like.
So they actually did something similar on Jimmy Fallon. So
really?
in 2018, I want to say. And actually, Wes, you said something about you could pull up a video. Look up, what's that song? Hey,
Oh,
I belong with you.
yeah,
You belong
Home.
with me. Yeah, I think that
By
is.
Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros.
Look
No,
at
it's the
you.
Lumineers.
Good job. So, and
No.
put Jimmy Fallon
You're my
with whatever he just said.
sweetheart.
Yes. Yes.
Wait, is it Lumineers? Oh yeah, you're
Lumineers.
right. Good job, Wesley. That is Ho Hey.
Right. Not hey ho. Very different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, oh.
Anyways, so I did this like I said, I did the album originally like back in 2017, and then a year or then shortly after, I don't even remember exactly. You have to see when it shows, but yeah. So I mean, they did the Lumineers song as chickens.
This was Ho Hey by Jimmy Fallon. Oh,
There we go.
the chicken
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah, so you have to. I know you
We
said
have no.
I know there's no audio, and that's
Right.
okay. So you'll have to definitely listen to it sometime. Anybody who's
Oh, so
watching or
there you go,
listening.
chicken suit.
There
Oh,
you
wow.
go. Yeah,
He
when
did-
you said that, I was like, actually, it's hilarious.
I feel like we can fill it in. Bark.
Is that Ron Swanson?
Yes, yes, it is.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty.
You know-
it's
So
pretty
you saw this and you were just like, that's what I want to be when I grow up.
great. So I did all of it, and then I saw it. So I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
okay, cool. I did it first, but sort of not really. But it was just so funny, and you capture it pretty well on that one. But yeah, it was literally just that kind of. I had a wild hair, and I was like, I need to go with this, and then it just turned into not just a wild hair, but like a project.
But you mentioned
know.
this started long before
Oh yeah,
the Jimmy Fallon
yes.
chicken.
Yes,
whatever.
Yes, right.
You said this started back in 2012.
Yes. So I mentioned yes, I've been a dancer, but I was also I was an entertainer is the best way to put it, because I would sing, dance. I also played drums. I was in this show in SeaWorld San Antonio, right?
Oh, they got one?
I didn't even know that there was a SeaWorld in San Antonio.
It's
Wow.
the largest one by square footage because it's Texas.
Really? Oh,
So-
fair enough. Fair enough.
It can go fuck itself. The real
Yeah,
one's
the
in
real
San
one's the
Diego.
San Diego one.
Yes.
Cool. Was Shamu at yours?
Apparently,
That's a
No,
lie.
fake
The real-
Shamu. Fake news.
That's like how the mall Santa isn't the real Santa. Like Santa has his helpers.
Yes.
That was Shamu's helpers.
I really
at
hope
the
no kids
San
listen to this
Antonio
podcast.
SeaWorld.
So, and it's fascinating because actually that year we started. We only were there for 2 months, and I did it 2 years in a row. It was like a Halloween show, and I won't get into it too much. But just the side note was that it was the year that Blackfish came out. Exactly. It's
a rough time to be performing at SeaWorld.
At SeaWorld. And I'm like, oh! But our show didn't have any animals or any.
Right.
It was a Halloween show.
Yeah, you weren't torturing whales or anything. Okay, now to be fair, if you actually watch Blackfish, it's not about SeaWorld.
No.
It's about these other off-brand sea parks
Yeah.
that are trash and awful, awful places.
Ocean
They just got a lot
Planet.
of.
I'm not like a SeaWorld shill or anything. I just feel like they got kind of a bad rap from
They did.
it. A little more, maybe some of it is fair. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
Do you know?
it all got laid at their feet, and that was kind of bullshit.
Do you know that my grandfather, aka your
I
grandfather,
do. I've heard this and told this many times because it's great. So go
was
ahead.
involved in SeaWorld back in the 70s?
Wait.
What do you know?
What I know was he had an option to invest with either the opening of SeaWorld or another themed park called Dinosaur World or something. And he went with Dino Land, and it quickly shut down. And it was like in the desert outside of San Diego. And like you could still drive.
It was in it was like where Marshall Scotty's is in that region.
Oh, I thought it was like out further. I remember there's somewhere you can drive and they still have like 2 of the dino sculptures like out front.
So I've heard.
That's what I know about it.
So what I know is, so my grandpa was well, he wasn't a professional fisherman. He was a captain and involved in the fishing industry. And so I don't actually know the depths, but I know he helped with SeaWorld. Like I think they helped catch fish
Shamu?
or something that they used. Not Shamu.
He caught your grandpa caught Shamu. That's what you're saying right now.
That's amazing.
No, but I think he was just involved with like getting them fish or some sort of research with fish or something. I don't really know what it is, but I think he was like, I think in the 70s or when it kind of began, he was like involved with SeaWorld.
That's fascinating.
The Dino World thing, what I know is that, he was an investor in this theme park. I don't know if it was called Dino World or what, but it was a dinosaur theme park where they were having like concrete statues of dinosaurs.
Did like Jurassic Park just come out?
You guys
No,
No, this is 70s.
Oh, you're right. Oh, this is a long time
60s
ago.
or 70s. I
You
think
know
it
there's
was
a
the
Dino
60s.
World in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Oh, we went.
Oh,
Yeah, we did. Oh,
You
yeah,
don't
it's
just
like
know.
the same
We went
thing.
like a month into COVID. There was like everything was shut down, and we were like,
No, it was like the week before shutdowns came to the south.
You're right. And the rest of the world was shut down, but we were still like holding on.
Yeah.
And we were.
And Kentucky's like, God darn it, I don't care if there's a COVID. We're going to have dinosaurs.
And so one day, like, we were just like, all right, well, we got nothing to do. This place said it was open.
Yep.
Let's go. And
Let's
so we
do
just
it.
hopped in the car and drove to Dino Land.
That's
and
amazing.
That was the last thing we did before everything shut down.
yeah, it was like the next day, the world was dead.
Yes.
Like, it was over.
Yeah, it was crazy because I was in New York when that all happened. I was there for like
way
the
worse
weekend.
place to be.
It was crazy because Broadway shut down. And then I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I flew back the next day, and then like all my competitions and all this stuff just went poof, gone.
Just gone.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was weird. Like,
But-
life.
So I didn't mean to
my
distract you
mom,
from Dino
Yeah, no,
Land.
you're good. My mom would tell me about this growing up. Now it was my dad's dad, but my mom would tell me like, your grandpa invested in, because I love dinosaurs as a kid because I was a kid and all kids like dinosaurs when you're a kid.
Obviously.
I like it still as an adult.
True.
And she's like, he did this dinosaur land. I'm like, can we go? And it's like, it doesn't exist anymore. It like went out of business. But the way she framed it is like he was ahead of his time because this was the 90s when I was a kid and Jurassic Park had just come out.
Yeah.
And dinosaurs were like massive. Yeah. So like they were like 30 years before Jurassic Park.
Ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time.
That's so crazy. Actually, funny, you were talking about investing. My grandfather had this is the story. I'll have to verify this. But he had, I've been told that he had the opportunity to invest in the franchises of McDonald's in New York.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And didn't?
New York City. And he didn't. He was a very much more like, he grew up in the Depression. He was an orphan, right? Like I heard he was on the streets for at least 5 or 6 years, like living on New York streets. It was pretty crazy. So like, yeah, why would you take your money that you've earned and then put it in that? And he had 3 daughters. And
This city isn't going to be nothing in the future.
it's crazy. Like when you think about like, oh, if you only knew, hindsight 2020, whatever.
But to take us back, this stemmed from you were doing a show at SeaWorld.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
I did not. What the fuck was that button?
It's like, oh my God.
That was so aggressive.
So for everybody out there listening in podcast land,
Who just had their ears blown out.
Oh my
today we have Wesley has replaced all of our buttons with Christmas theme sound effects.
How the hell is that Christmas?
And we don't know what any of them are. I don't know. We might have to give it another play.
Yeah,
to
because I
see
was
it.
not ready
Ready?
for it.
It's fucking Christmas morning.
Wesley,
That's great.
you get the slow clap,
Fucking
motherfucker.
Christmas
That
morning.
is so good.
Wow. You just had to let it play. So we're gonna, for the remainder of the show, we're gonna be experimenting with what these buttons do.
Well, now that I know, now that I have a little bit of an idea, I'm all excited.
I'm stoked.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
amazing.
Wow,
Oh, good choice.
it's been a while since a button push made me that happy.
Oh my gosh.
So you played a show at SeaWorld.
Yes, I was doing a show at SeaWorld, whatever. The whole point is it was setting it up. My had a couple days off. Parents, I was like 24, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And this might have even been 2011, actually. Because I did it 2 years, 2011,
You're
2012.
really trying to beat Jimmy Fallon to the punch.
I win, Jimmy. So they come visit. We go to Austin, right? And so to give a little background, the reason why I mentioned this story, not just Austin and jumped into there, is I played it's a Halloween show, so we were all zombies, right? There was this couple that get like the
Right, that was like top of the zombie hype times.
Yep.
Walking
It was
Dead is
called-
in full swing.
Yes, it's called Monster Stomp. So it was like Stomp. So you think of like people doing all the beats and all that stuff and the dancing with monsters, right?
Cool.
So it's a very like
I feel like Monster Mash would have been a really easy name there.
yeah, the whole licensing thing, whatever. But all that to say, we're all monsters. There's like somebody gets trapped on an island and like, yeah, they get inducted into the tribe. And so what they had is like, there was the zombie king and queen and they did songs like Barracuda and stuff like that. Like it was really cool. It was fun. But then I played the henchman to the, what is that called? The king. So I was his like, kind of like Igor to the Dr. Frankenstein, or Steen, I should say. If you know that reference. And then, so I had to be, they made me a bird, a dead bird. So I got really good, and it's a 2,000 person, we packed it every night, but it was 2,000 people, outdoor shed. So it's got a roof, but that's it. And so I got really good at making loud bird noises. Right, so like, like I got really good at that because they didn't give me a mic. They're like, just be louder, and I'm like, thanks, guys. So I'm doing that, and then there's one.
No one's
scene-
ever said that before.
What?
That was a first in humanity. Like, I got really good at making loud bird noises.
That is true. So bizarre. And so I do that, and then there's one scene we're supposed to. It's like an homage to Wizard of Oz, lions, bears, and whatever. Oh my! And it's a tiki god that's like screaming at us, and I'm supposed to be scared. And one day I just kind of start playing with the chicken noise because I'm supposed to be scared, and I'm a bird, right? And the director's like, louder. I need to hear that. That's amazing. And I was like, okay. So I started practicing, like really loud, and like just started working on chicken noises. So I got really good at it. My mom, my parents are both musicians. They met in a band together and stuff like that. Like not anymore, but like they still play. But and so my mom's very musical. Like she's incredible at like doing harmonies, all those kinds of things. It's where I first learned to sing was with her. And so the way she talks is she's all up and down the scale. Everything she does is down here and then up and then here and do. And I'm a parrot. Like I found that I'm really good at mimicking whatever I hear. I love mimicking like sounds that I hear. And so without missing a beat, she's like, I haven't seen her in a couple months. And so she's excited and she's an excitable person. And she just starts going on this monologue and like, we're doing this. And then tomorrow we should go do this. And without missing a beat, I just copy her as a chicken. And I'm like, it's ridiculous. And my dad falls to the pavement, dying laughing, rolling on the floor. Like we're just walking down the streets of Austin. It was great. So that started all of it. I got good at it. I started doing it like listening to music and just like singing as a chicken. And then I was like, as an idea.
Sure, like a crazy person, right?
Yes. Yep. So
Oh, that's cool. I have an uncle who's homeless.
yeah, I guess being an artist really does make some weird shit. Oh man, remember I was in a zombie show at SeaWorld. Like nothing about my life was normal. Like they put the whole cast in the same house, the 13 of us in one house. So like it's a weird, bizarre thing.
Right.
So got really good at it, and started singing songs. And I looked at my brother. I moved to Nashville and started ballroom dancing full time and started teaching. And I was like, Justin, you know what we should do? We should record a couple songs just for our family, right? Because I wasn't making much money. I was 25 at the time, just starting out. So like, you know, how many clients, blah, 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 all that stuff. And so then like, let's do some fun. Let's like play with some stuff. And we start like recording, just him and I, a few things. And I was like, what if we did this as a chicken? Because he knew about like my stupid chicken noises. And he was like, yes.
At this point, you're making a name for yourself. It's the chicken guy.
Yes, the chicken man. Yes, that is actually, I have some kids friends of mine, their kids call me the chicken man.
The chicken man?
Yeah, they do.
It's like, this is my life now.
Yep, I'm like, all right, okay. Could
They're
be
like
worse.
stoked when you come to Christmas parties. They're like, the Chicken Man came!
Yes,
100%.
Anytime. They're like, sing the song. It's great. So, yeah, and then that's kind of just where it started. And then I started, over the next 2-3 years, I like started telling like a couple musician friends, and they were like, this is hilarious. We need to do this. And so picked up a couple tunes and did it with a couple buddies of mine at a studio here in town, like literally less than half a mile away on Music Row. And yeah, and then I released it in 2017 and didn't do much with it. And then now here we are again. It's coming back because I was like, you know what? I should re-release it so it's out the whole time because it got pulled off because I didn't like re-up.
We
or
should
whatever.
say it's out now when you listen to this episode.
Yes. Yes.
So when you listen to this, look up Fowl Play Presents.
Yes.
Right, because when is this episode? Oh, is this episode coming out on?
Wednesday.
Yeah, this week, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
In just a few short days. But when you're hearing this now.
It'll be out.
Yeah. This is out right now because you're hearing me.
Now.
And Fowl Play Presents is out. And I don't know, are you interested in talking about your like aspirations with it, or are you keeping that kind of close to the chest at the moment?
I mean, the truth is, I think it's hilarious, and the more people you can share it with, I think you should, because it's stupid. And I love it. Like, kids love it. Like, I've noticed, like, anybody who's kind of has a sense of humor and kids, like, those two groups of people typically love this. You know, it's people who don't have a sense of humor or can only think of certain things. Like, they're like, I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, cool. You're not my audience. So I just want people to enjoy it. Of course, I have, like, little things where I'm like, well, I should really sell this to like Chick-fil-A or something, you know? That's what I should
To be fair,
doing.
their branding is more cow-based.
Yes, you're right. So, I mean, it could be any of them, you know? So I have a couple of ideas that I'll do. And then just to continue just making covers as a chicken, that's kind of where I want to go. So this is just kind of the launching point, because like there's, just to give you a little sneak peek, only here at Music
Music Row Hideout.
Christmas Row Hideout.
Christmas Row Hideout.
Christmas Row Hideout.
What's the name again? I don't remember. Shit.
It's right there on the screen.
Yeah, well, you know, this is, we're just trading spots now, Ryan. So, yeah, here is that next year I want to put out your favorite movie theme songs. So think Star Wars.
Right. Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Ooh.
Really, any John Williams, anything.
Basically.
like that's where, like
Yes.
at least 50% is John Williams.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. No, I put a list up and I was like, half of these are John Williams. So, and like just little snippets, like nothing more than 30, 45 seconds, but just, again, for listening enjoyment.
right, because like that's the length that it's hilarious, right?
Yes.
If you do like if it's like a 6-minute song, 5 minute 4, you're probably like, why? I'm listening to this same
I
song.
recorded. So if you look it up, you'll see it. I originally recorded the "All I Want for Christmas Is You," right? The full freaking song, and talk about. I listened to it and I was like, this is not funny. It's just so long. Because I mean, the first verse and second verse, it's the same damn thing,
Right.
you know? Like it's the same, because like it's interesting because of the lyrics and what she's singing,
Right.
and it's Mariah. Like I can't sing like her, but I pretend to, and so I'm
But I'm
like,
sure she can't chicken like you, so it kind of
no,
goes both
you're not
ways.
wrong. You're not wrong. We all got our strengths, you know. So chicken like you.
I
That's
feel like
right, Mother Clucker. Let's
30
go.
years from now, there's gonna be a documentary made about this. It's
I
called
hope so.
Chicken Man. You know, and
Sorry, That's Right, Mother Clucker might just be the name of the episode.
that's right, Mother Clucker. That's a great episode name.
Right?
There you go. Glad I could help.
I got an
That's
ear for the
absurd.
episode names.
Yes, you do. All right.
Now, I think it's been just long enough that we ought to play another sound effect.
And over.
It's only that long. Well, that's good. It makes it a good sting. You can just play that whenever.
Yes.
Maybe one more. Actually, you haven't cued an effect. Let's go for something.
Let's go green.
With a hey and a he and a ho ho and a he and a ho and a ha ha and a ho and a
All right.
Man, where did you find this crap, Wesley?
Pulled it out of his butt real
like,
quick.
dear Lord.
Yeah, especially to set it all up just for today. Holy
Yes.
crap.
It's incredible.
There's one on there, and I don't know exactly what it says, but I know the gist, and I'm really looking for an opportunity to play it.
Okay.
But it's got to be good timing, so
Yeah.
somebody has to say something.
Do. Is that what you want?
That won't work.
You want it to happen organically.
Yeah.
I get you. I get you.
It'll happen. So how does you're from North Carolina?
Very good, yes.
Yeah.
I've got some
And-
questions.
Yeah. you love to talk about states.
I do love
wanna
to talk
know-
about
I love
So
states.
I
I
remember.
get it.
So okay. So your parents were musicians, and I met them very briefly. And I do remember there was some story about them. Like, was it you that found a vinyl record of them, like in a thrift shop or something? Random.
Okay, so
What was that story?
Okay, so parents met and really got to know each other in a band, right? Their whole story is kind of hilarious. Like, took my mom 3 days to say yes when my dad asked her to marry him, but
It's a rough 3
Those are-
days.
Yeah.
he said it over a diner, like they're at a diner together, and she's like, "I think I love you," and he goes, "Marry me." And she's like, "What?" It's like about the most unromantic
No ring,
thing, right?
nothing?
Nope,
Just real
nothing.
quick.
Because he was just like, "Wait, this woman has seen me at my worst, and she loves me. I'm in."
Was it like the diner where they had their first date or anything?
They know each other for a little bit.
This is a new sound effect.
Fuck you! I hope your whole family has a nice Christmas!
Didn't apply.
No,
Didn't apply. You thought that one might apply, but good try.
You
good
never
try.
know.
Good effort.
You
Good
never.
effort.
You never know. What the
So I got lost. Where was I going? You were asking.
A record. You have to,
your
found a
dad-
record.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So they met in a band, and of course I can't think of the name right now. I think somebody even put it on Spotify recently. I'm not sure. I'll find out and I'll let you guys know later. But they recorded and they toured for a summer for 3 months in a van and all that stuff back in the 70s. And they
made a vinyl, which is really cool.
yeah.
Well, it's not like
you did.
CDs were out at the time.
That's all you got, you know. Tapes weren't even around yet.
Yeah.
Not really. But anyways, so that's how they. And then my brother like stumbled upon it randomly. I don't think it was at a vinyl shop or something. I think it was somewhere else or something. And then they uploaded everything to YouTube, you know. And so him and his buddy, they were just like listening, like this was good, you know, for the time. It was
Right.
it was kind of. It was very 70s, but it was a Christian rock band, you know? So,
In the
yeah.
70s.
Yeah, in the 70s, which was really interesting.
It's early for that.
Real early.
Well, so recently, right next to the studio, we have a coffee shop called The Well, and The Well
Yes, I love the well.
is the Well here is it's called the Well Koinonia because there used to be a place called Koinonia, and it was a coffee shop / bookstore / performance venue, and it died and was gone for a long time, but they've brought it back now with The Well. Anyway, so in there they've been advertising a documentary called The Jesus Music, and so they had a video of like Amy Grant
Okay.
in the
Yeah.
space, and it's called The Jesus. So that's all I knew. So I saw that ad and I was like, oh, there's a documentary that features the coffee shop I go to every day. I'm curious. And it's on Hulu. So I went
sick.
and watched it. It is made by K-Love. I can't stand their
Interesting.
radio station.
Nope. Sucks.
But it was a really good documentary, and I was so surprised that they made something good.
You and I both.
It was positive. It was encouraging. No, just kidding. It was, no, but it was. I actually really enjoyed this documentary, and what it did is it followed, like, kind of the inception of Christian music from the like late '60s. Mm-hmm. And it did a good job of being a documentary where they kind of like talked about what was going on in the '60s, and sort of what
Yeah.
happened in California with kind of the creation of, it was during the Jesus movement. These guys started, they were like hippies in bands doing like good music, and then they became Christians, and they're like, oh, I guess we'll just make our songs about Jesus now.
Yes.
But
Kind of like Thrice.
yeah,
Same story.
kinda, yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah.
guys ever seen the South Park episode about this? Hey, wait, it's not
Faith
a platinum
plus
album.
one.
Just replace "Baby" with Jesus, and then it works. Hit me, Jesus, one more time. Like what?
Cartman sits down with the record execs, and they're like, you know, it sounds like you really love Jesus.
Well, of course I do. Isn't love of Christ a great thing?
Like, no, I mean, it sounds like you're in love with Christ. Ha! It's been a long time since I did my Cartman impression. That's very from middle school.
Pretty good.
Yeah, of course, loving Christ is great.
But yeah, so
Sorry.
so this documentary, like, so it showed all like the inception of Christian music was from like hippies who were already making good music, and then they just changed the lyrics to be about God.
Yeah, and then it got worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sure did, and
Yeah.
it's now unrecognizable. But in this documentary, they had all these early musicians, and a lot of them were actually really good. Like
Yes.
Keith Green,
Yes.
which I know like everybody
You
talks
know
about,
Keith
but I had
Green?
never listened to him before.
Okay. No, he was good.
But I listened to him, and he's like Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Like, he's a phenomenal pianist and wrote great songs. But, like, in the early Christian music, they were like, it was good music.
Yeah.
And they just made the lyrics about God.
What happened?
What happened?
Money.
Industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Money.
100%.
Money and power, always. Right?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. So those kind of.
Free. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Classic.
Yes.
All right, that applies. I like it. I like it. I like it. Well done.
That's why I
Well
went
done.
for it. That was really nice. Good job.
You knew what you wanted. And you got it.
so good.
Caleb came in with their machine guns and their money and was like, we could make a lot more money if this is saccharine. If the Baptists approve. I was once in the home of a famous Christian musician who nobody would guess because I've never mentioned them on this show. But anyway, they said off camera that it is the Baptists that keep Christian music alive. That they are the people who want Christian music and pay for them to come to their churches and their worlds.
Well, from what I
And the
understand,
Baptists, for those not aware, the Baptists are kind of what you probably think of. If you don't go to church and you think of what church is probably like, you probably think of what the Baptists
And
are
you're
like.
talking more
100%.
Southern Baptist, would you say, or Baptist?
well, to be fair,
Good question. I don't know.
I mean, they're
Okay.
pretty similar, but one's got a way sketchier past.
Yes. Yes. Cool. We're on the same
No,
page.
just like when you think of, if you don't go to church and you think of church people, you
Yeah.
think you
Yeah.
probably think church people don't drink alcohol and they don't
Yeah.
say swear words and stuff like that. There's probably a number of religions that are like that, but like the Baptist sect of Christianity is 1000% that.
Yeah, Baptist is the TV Christianity.
Yes, TV Christianity. Baptist
That's a good-
equals
that's a good-
Baptist.
Yeah,
Good.
And I
To a degree.
I went to a Baptist church for a long time when I was a kid, up until I went to Foothills, which was a non-denominational. What does that even mean? Non-denominational is a denomination. Give it a name.
Non-denom. That's what we call it.
But it's not even. It doesn't even mean anything. It just means like we like kind of believe the same shit.
Well,
It just-
initially, it just means you're not associated with like an specific organization.
Yes.
the rebels,
All a denomination is a group.
right?
Well,
it's just
there-
a made up.
There's actually even more because each denomination they answer to somebody. So, meaning, let's just take my understanding of Presbyterianism is like that's a denomination, right? And so the difference, let's say the difference between them and Catholics, like Presbyterians only believe in 2 sacraments, right? which is like marriage and
There's a lot of other weird Presbyterian
and-
stuff.
yeah, all of them are
But
weird. It's
they're
religion.
true.
Like it's just weird. It's religion, man. We're talking about beliefs. Like,
Yeah.
whew, it starts getting real sketchy. But all that to say, like they believe in two, whereas like Catholics they have the 7 sacraments and
Right.
Orthodox 7 sacraments, like that kind of stuff. So that's really the difference between each denomination. Is literally think of it like this. I'm probably going to get shot for this later, but think of it like ice cream. It's really just what's your favorite flavor. It's all bloody ice cream. It's all about Christ. I don't care if you're Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox. It's about Christ. So like the rest of it is what's your favorite flavor.
We're gonna pick a sound effect for that.
Ooh, classic.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a classic one.
That is.
All about Christ.
Yeah. That does make me think if you have, I don't know if you're a fan of stand-up comedy.
I like it.
There's a special that came out recently that I feel like talks about this very thing, which I'm not going to try to quote it because I'm not doing that shit.
The Ari Shafir.
But the Ari Shafir, yeah, it's a stand-up special. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's called Jew. So you know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
He's Jewish.
I'm so stoked.
It is a phenomenal stand-up special, and I didn't know what to think going in because like I didn't know much about this guy.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. It's on
I'm in.
YouTube. He just put it up like a month ago.
What
I'm
was
in.
what was his bit about the Bible again?
You mean like in the beginning? Like the very first thing he says is like, let's talk about the Bible. And he was like, the original, not your shitty remake. Yeah, the Old Testament.
That's so good.
Yeah, he calls it fan fiction. He's like, yeah,
Yes.
he's like, you introduced a superhero.
Wow, that's incredible.
Didn't he talk about? Wasn't there something about like how when he got around Christians when he got older, he was like impressed, like the
By their
miracles
miracles.
of Jesus were like so much more flashy than their
And
miracles.
then like Jewish miracles.
He's
yeah.
like the Hanukkah miracles that we had enough oil to burn a candle for 8 days.
Like this candle burned hella long. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Wait, your guy can walk on water?" Didn't he? Didn't he say like?
Well, don't go
did he
too
get
deep.
wet?
Don't give away all the jokes,
Okay,
Ryan.
yeah.
You gotta watch the special. It's really good.
I'm gonna go watch that now.
It's phenomenal.
So it's
It gets
lovely.
a little vulgar if that bugs you. Some people that bugs.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's great. It's perfect.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think it's about time for a new random sound effect.
Oh, almost sad.
That was
That's-
not
that's
Christmassy.
not
Hold on,
Christmassy at
I
all.
knew
But I
one.
get it.
Fuck you! I hope your whole family has a nice Christmas!
We did that.
Right,
one.
we did that one.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Classic Santa. Classic Santa. Classic Santa. But speaking of Christmas,
Yeah.
I do feel like this is an important Christmas topic.
Okay.
And I know it's very controversial,
I'm in.
but
Let's dive
Christmas
in.
movies.
Yes.
Some are good, some are bad. But what's the best?
Die Hard.
Thank God.
Oh,
Anyone
wow.
anyone who doesn't say Die Hard can go straight to hell.
So you know what? You know what? You want to know something hilarious?
I've got news for you. You're mine now.
What's kind of hilarious is I just watched down one of those rabbit holes of like Instagram or whatever. Saw a video of Bruce Willis, right?
Yeah.
Saying like Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
You know what? He can go straight to hell. All right? What does he know? He didn't write it.
Nope, he didn't do anything.
mo-
he was
what
just
movie?
in it.
Showed up and
He was just
pretended.
in it, yes.
What movie?
Showed up and pretended. Oh my God.
What has he done lately?
Yeah.
You seen a Bruce Willis movie?
Die Hard
Well,
12, pretty sure. I don't.
Let's not get too. He's.
No, I
actually
love Die
suffering-
Hard.
He's
I love
suffering
Bruce
from a lot
Willis.
right now.
Oh, is he?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't
like he
actually know.
can't. I don't remember what disease it is. Wesley, actually, if you can look up on Google real
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah, what's Bruce
what's
Willis'
he
deal?
suffering from? Because it's literally like he can't talk or like.
Oh, that's
like we're talking. He's done. Like it sucks because he's done.
By the way, Wesley, remember that you have a mic tonight and you can say it.
You're always trying to get Wesley to talk. Maybe he doesn't want to.
I want Wesley to be a part of the show.
Apparently, it's aphasia.
Aphasia.
What's aphasia?
What is that? Please
Yeah.
explain, Wesley. Read to us in your
One
lovely
moment.
voice when you're ready.
No, he doesn't read. He just knows everything.
He doesn't know how to
He just
read.
says it.
Gotcha.
We haven't taught him that yet, but this year, this year we watched Die Hard last year.
Yes.
My wife didn't want to watch it again this year,
I get it.
so we watched Die Hard 2 because it was also on the list as a Christmas movie, and I was like, I've only seen it like 20 years ago. It's been so long, and I watched it and I was like, way less Christmassy,
Yeah.
and also way less good.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It wasn't bad. None of
It
the
was no
Die
Live
Hard.
Free or Die Hard.
Well, okay, none. But even that one, I would still say is not like it's not
watchable.
good.
It's watchable.
But I'm entertained.
yeah. If you're
Enough.
already bought into the Die Hard.
Enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're watching Die Hard 2 or 57, I think you're going to be into it, you know? Like
But yeah, number 2 is not. I just want to rewatch.
it's like
number
Fast
one
and
again now.
Furious, except those they're bad.
But I have a few movies that are like I consider like top tier.
Wesley's trying to talk about aphasia.
Oh,
Yes,
aphasia.
please.
Aphasia is a language disorder caused by damage in a specific area of your brain that controls language expression and comprehension. Aphasia leaves a person unable to communicate effectively with others, and many people have aphasia as a result of stroke.
That sucks.
That's
That's like
bummer.
exactly like the part of your brain you need for acting,
Yes.
which makes me think
it's like somebody broke
that
my knees
maybe
as
yeah,
a dancer. Yeah.
maybe he took a Faustian bargain. Hear me out.
You mean like a Devil at the Crossroads situation?
Correct. Yeah. So do you know about Faust?
I no. Let's
Because
say
I
no.
want you to know that I know that Faust was written by Johann van Goethe in the 1500s.
Oh, you're just showing off your fact of the day, or
Back in high school, I was in an academic bowl team.
I'm so freaking stoked. This is awesome. Did you just say academic bowl?
Yes, I sure was.
What the hell is that
It's
shit?
like Jeopardy for like
know.
it's for nerds.
I'm-
Yeah.
High five, man.
You had a
You got it.
Jeopardy
Yeah.
buzzer. And so it was like this. Like they would be like, who wrote Faust?
With a hey and a he and
Almost. No. It was this one. It was I'll show you. I got a whole plan here. It was
Okay.
like
Okay, repeat everything you said.
you would be in high school. I was in 9th grade, and they would be like, "Who wrote Faust?" And I would be like, "Johann van Goethe."
Got it.
And so you had a little buzzer. And the thing is that I went to a high school that was brand new in our district, so we only had 9th and 10th graders. And so when they started the academic bowl team, the only people who showed up was me and my friends who were all in 9th grade. Now, every other school had like 12th graders were in charge of the team, you know?
Yeah.
They had seniors.
Yeah.
And then they might have some like underlings that were learning that were kind of like bench warmers. But in our case, it was an all freshman team. So the rest of these kids had 4 years of things they had presumably learned in high school to compete by. We didn't. So our teacher was smart. And he, by the way, in my head, my teacher of the academic bowl team looked exactly like Professor Snape from Harry Potter. And
Alan Rickman.
yes. Now he might have been slightly different, but in my memory he was identical. And
Perfect.
he was like,
Go with it.
Ryan,
Like Mr. Poole.
Mr. Poole, you will be the literature.
The literature.
So I was in charge of literature, and I didn't have time to read all these books, so he gave us a list. He just gave me a list of 127 like classic works to memorize. And so I memorized Faust, Johann van Goethe, Emily Bronte, The Heart of Darkness, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I had this whole
the
list.
basic info.
Exactly. And I just memorized works
Spark
and their
notes.
authors.
He spark noted you.
He did. He spark noted me.
Your own teacher.
That's awesome.
And I will say, to like wrap that story up, that we won 2 competitions, and it in the season, and it was like a big deal because we were the only freshman team to ever win. I think we were the only freshman team to ever exist.
Right?
So
Because
smart.
that's such a weird thing, like that your high school, like that's such a different high school experience.
Yeah.
That it's just 9th and 10th, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Wait.
I think of middle school, that's what was so crazy about this whole thing. That's why I was only freshman, because
Yeah.
you're only freshmen and sophomores at
Good
that.
listener.
Yeah, I totally missed that. Well, I don't listen to you much, but
You've had 14 years to learn
your
this
high
story.
school wasn't 9th and what?
Yeah, Steel Canyon, when I went, was a brand new school. And they started with a freshman class, and then their second year of being a school, I was in that class as the freshman. And so we had sophomores. It was sophomores and freshmen.
Weird. All I
It's
know
like
about
middle
Steel
school all
Canyon
over again.
High School in San Diego, very specific, is I didn't like anyone who went there who I knew at the time because they were all assholes and fucking had money. And I went to a poor ass school, but I played on the golf team. And we used to play at Steel Canyon Golf Course with Steel Canyon High School as their home course. The course, amazing, beautiful course, one of the best. I love it. But every time we played with those kids, I was like, these fucking assholes. Yeah. I just hated those kids.
In reality, and this is a little too specific for our podcast, but in reality, the Steel Canyon, there's probably some rich kids.
And they're all the ones who played golf.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But like there was
And
a
you know
lot
what?
of not
Fuck
rich
those
kids.
kids.
I just started golf like 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
When I met,
really?
Yeah. So I met my wife, and then like her dad is an avid and incredible golfer. He's a scratch golfer. Like he scores 70, 75 constantly.
I think, Wes,
I know.
you're a scratch golfer, right? Scratch golfer? Or it might be better than scratch. He's really good.
I used to be a scratch golfer.
That's incredible.
I don't play much anymore, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I say I play, like, meaning, okay, I try to get out 3 times a month when it's warm enough. Like, if I'm
That's
lucky.
a lot. 3 times a month, a lot.
Yeah, no, especially as just a hobby, but I just started. It's like, I gotta say, when I tried it in high school, fucking hated it. It was
Yeah.
awful, right? I just hated it because I didn't understand patience at that time. 15, whatever. And then now, like, oh my God, I think it's great.
Yeah. See, I got
so enjoyable.
into there was like I grew up in like a poor area, and there was this little golf course, like a little par 3 course. Like the longest hole is 120 yards.
Sun Valley.
No, not Sun Valley. We hated Sun Valley. They were our rivals.
I forget that all of
We
you
were-
are from San Diego,
yeah.
so I'm just always like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we were. It was Kalina Park Golf Course, but the program was called it was a First Tee program. If you've heard
Okay.
of the First Tee, but it was
No
called
idea
Pro
what you're
Kids
talking
Golf
about.
Academy. It's like a First Tee is like a nationwide golf for kids thing.
Okay, like Boy Scouts for golf.
Yeah, 100%. But this is called Pro Kids Golf Academy and Learning Center, and they used to pick people up from my middle school, and you wouldn't go to PE for like 3 weeks or whatever, and they go teach you how to play golf instead.
That's awesome.
It was super cool, and so I started there in like
That's
'98
really cool.
playing golf, and then I also got my first job there. That was where my high school practiced because it was like 2 blocks from my high school, and like so I lived at this golf course. Like,
Yeah.
it's all I did.
That's amazing.
But I had a point. Where was I going with this?
No one knows.
Golf, Steel Canyon.
Hit a button.
Hit a-
It's a good escape.
Hit a button. How many times can you use the same button?
That's your favorite button.
He's pulling his cock out.
That is my favorite button. I'm glad you didn't remove it, Wesley.
So that's
I
what he
was,
did
but I will say I was
before.
really
Okay.
hoping there was a Christmas version of that.
I had 5 minutes, Ryan.
Yeah, true. Yeah, just like if you could
did
edit
amazing,
in
Wes.
like Santa's pulling his cock out, something like that. I don't.
Yeah. I'm really bothered because I definitely had a point to where I was going, but I don't remember now. Anyways, I've never been as good as Wesley was. But
It's fucking Christmas morning.
Oh, it's Jingle Bells stuff.
it's Jingle Bells. I didn't even catch that.
Wow,
Finally.
that's my favorite one.
That one's incredible. It is so.
It's fucking Christmas morning, and the fact that he's British makes it so much better.
It's fucking Christmas morning.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Oh my God. Golf.
outside of Die Hard, because most people don't agree.
Yeah.
Even though I do.
I get the controversy. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So like, because I don't like. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You know, I like Elf as well. I think
That's
it's
a
just
great one. I love
freaking
Elf.
hilarious.
Have you seen The Man Who Invented Christmas?
Nope. No idea
check
even
it
what
out.
you're
You know,
talking
I
about.
still haven't finished it.
Oh, it's so good.
I need to watch it.
Yeah, it's.
Why is it good?
So it is. So I don't know if you know this. I learned this
I don't.
from the movie, and
The
so
answer's no.
it may or may not be true. But apparently, in the early 1900s, Christmas was not widely celebrated in the same way that it is now. It was much less, much more. Just it wasn't as big of a deal.
Okay.
Kind of like a dying holiday. It was like Arbor Day. You know what I mean? Like just like a.
What is
it was
Arbor
like-
Day?
I don't know. I just made that shit up. I don't know.
Okay.
No, it is real.
about
That is a real
trees.
thing. I don't know anything about it. It's like Labor Day.
I think it's about trees.
Arbor Day is about trees.
I
That
think
makes
so.
sense.
Arbors.
Arbors are trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arbors are trees.
Let's keep going.
Arbors are trees. So, but it's about the writing of A Christmas Story. So it is okay. First of all, that look makes me think that you believe that A Christmas Story, not A Christmas Story. I'm sorry, A Christmas Carol.
Okay.
A Christmas Story is a mediocre Christmas movie that they just play all the time.
Yeah.
A Christmas
Agreed.
Carol is the best Christmas tale ever written.
I think it is a great Christmas tale. Correct?
Yeah, the best Christmas tale I've written. That's what I said. And so this, and so this is about Charles Dickens writing it. He's the main character, and it's him writing it, and it's based off of like all these. It's well done, perfectly made. I've watched every rendition of A Christmas Carol that has been created. I think I've seen so many.
There's a new one. There's a new one.
I don't do that
Spirited.
one.
They're Spirited. Have you seen Spirited?
Haven't yet.
I have,
Yeah.
obviously,
Oh, really?
because I
It
watched
just
everything
came
of A
out.
Christmas Carol. Yeah, I watched it immediately.
How'd you feel
with
about
Will
it?
Ferrell and
You watched it immediately.
Ryan Reynolds.
Do you have this obsession with Christmas?
with Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Christmas. Christmas
Okay.
is the best.
I'm not saying it's not.
I do all the Christmas things.
Okay.
Outside of Christmas, I'm not into things that are like, oh, that's nice. I'm not into things that are campy, really, or like cheesy. But when it comes to Christmas, I am.
But also, that's allowed at Christmas. I hear you. Like, there's an allowance of like, yeah, that's fine. That's great. What you would talk about at the very beginning of the episode of like, oh, like these guys are kind of pandering to me. The yay factor that I talked about.
Same thing. It's the same
Like,
concept.
It's the same thing. It's the campiness, right? But there's something I agree with you that at Christmas time, that's like, I expect that and want that. I don't know why.
Yeah, me
But
too.
outside of December, fuck off.
No, yeah, like get that shit out of my face.
Do that shit. Like, that's awful. Like, I hate that stuff.
But for Christmas specifically,
But yes.
I'm into
I
it.
hear you.
And
Keep going.
I don't do anything Christmassy before Thanksgiving. I think that should be illegal, and you should go to prison. Christmas starts on Thanksgiving, and it
might be a little intense,
and
but
it
whatever.
ends on New Year's. If you listen to Christmas music outside of that, it should remove it from
No,
Spotify.
I know you don't use Instagram at all.
I don't.
But our clip from last week was you talking about that.
Really? I don't even remember talking about that. Apparently, I'm really passionate about this.
Maybe a bit.
But no, the Man of Venice is phenomenal. You should definitely watch it.
Okay.
It's like that is our probably every year movie. We watch that movie
That's
every
nice.
year.
I think traditions, honestly, like this, where so how long you're married?
Yeah, been
how
married
long you
7
been married?
years.
7 years. So like you create traditions, with the
You
people
do.
that you're around the most. Like I just think that's just a fascinating thing.
And the traditions are really just
grounding.
at a certain point.
That's what tradition is.
Fair enough.
It's habit with meaning.
Habit with meaning.
So, like, because that's what I do for a living is I teach people habits. Like that's it. My whole goal.
Oh, that's an interesting way to think. I never thought about that way.
That's how I do it. Like I teach myself constantly when I'm working on my stuff.
Yeah.
Habits, right? Because I can't think of all that toes and do whatever. I have to be this
Is
way.
that what dancing is?
Yes.
Toes and doop
and
doop
doop doop doop. That's very accurate.
That's the definition.
You can't think of all that when you're trying to perform and connect with an audience.
Right.
Right. So just like
the muscle memory. It's the
exactly
doing it
It's-
a million
It's
times.
just like performing music or anything. Like, so the human brain cannot think of two things at once. It's been proven. You can look up the studies, yada, yada, yada. When you do two things at once, what you're really doing is putting something on autopilot and then engaging in the other.
Yeah. I
Right?
literally bring this up all the time
It's
with my wife because she's on the
That's
phone
dumb.
when we're talking.
That's just dumb.
I'm like, babe, I know
okay,
you're
I get
paying
that.
attention to your phone. You can't hear anything that I'm saying.
yeah, that's rough. I hear you.
It's a real thing.
And no, it's a very real thing. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because like keeping like, hey, being with the person, being present is different. Everybody has a different view of that. And that's really hard. It's a very
I'm very much a
interesting
be
thing.
present person.
Yes, and but how you view being present is different than other people.
True.
And how I view it, and he does. Like everybody's just slightly different.
Right. Most people are slightly wrong. But
Yes, I'm loving this so much.
Oh wow,
that's just the intro song.
it's so festive
great.
with the bells.
I do love the
is.
bells in the beginning.
It is so nice. Shit, I forgot what you're talking about.
Surprise.
God.
That's how we do.
Yep, I'm just letting you know. Like, yep, totally lost it.
Okay. Well, you bring up a great point, which is that you're a guest on our show and you do things. And so I thought this might be a great opportunity to come back to what you do. So you do music things, but also you do dancing things. And I think dancing things are probably your
Dancing
primary
things are music
world.
things, aren't they?
So
True. That is interconnected.
what?
Dancing things are music things.
So what's fascinating? So I don't know what you guys think about therapy. I think it's the best fucking thing.
Are we gonna do this again? Are we gonna have the same? Are we gonna do this again? I don't want to. We're gonna fucking do this shit again.
Yeah, we talk. Therapy comes up a lot on this podcast because artists are open to it and he's not. But
I'm not open to therapy. I have nothing against therapy.
He hates therapy.
I
with his
just
whole heart.
don't think that everybody needs to have therapy all the time.
No, that's completely true.
Yeah, I get so much pushback on that.
With that statement being true, right? People are probably more pushing back on the fact that you're downing the fact that they think therapy is awesome.
I think therapy is great.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So that's clarified.
I recently restarted therapy, so I'm totally on this train you're going down. And I want to say this to your point. Earlier this morning, I was looking for like what podcast should I listen while I'm getting ready for the day, and there was like a therapy one that I very briefly looked at a few months ago, and so I was like, they had a thing about the holidays, and like, are you feeling dread around the holidays or about being around your family? And I was like,
I am not.
I'm like, I'll listen to that. And so I started listening, and I couldn't stick with her because in the beginning she's like, in our culture that has been very influenced by, colonialism and the patriarchy.
You're like, I'm out.
With the colonial patriarchy pushing a heteronormative narrative, it can be really hard at Christmas. And I was like, I'm like, okay, like, lady, you're just really pushing into like a. I don't know. I was just a little turned off by how strong that was.
I can't imagine why.
But the point is, I'm not against therapy. Just to be clear, for everyone who's heard us talk about this 800 times.
Okay, therapy's great.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We've
Therapy's
said that.
great.
I don't think you need it all the time, right? I think it's seasons, right?
When you need it, you use it.
Bingo. It's just like a
tool.
hammer. You don't use a hammer for everything.
Right.
Right? So, anyways. Shit. Where were we going?
You were starting by... you were saying, I don't know what you think about therapy, and then he had to make his opinion known.
Yeah, I did.
I just had to cut you off at the knees before we had to talk about that whole conversation again.
You guys started like it was so great. So I thought therapy. What were we talking about? Shit.
We was talking about you as a dancer.
You do music things. You do dance things.
Yes, you do music and dance, and then he said, and I quote, "Aren't dance things music things?" And then you said,
yes,
"Oh, the interesting thing is."
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So therapy. What's fascinating? So just something that I was trying to recognize in myself is like we all have needs, right? That's just basic. You have your basic human needs, whatever. And then one of the things for me is music. Dancing is like as if you're like you got an itch, right? Like right here on your rib, and you're scratching it, but you're scratching it through your shirt. So it doesn't quite actually scratch the itch. It doesn't ever go away because you're like, it feels a little better. Because dancing is, you're dancing to music, right? So I'm engaging in music. But what I found is that music for me is creating, right? Creating something. So I love songwriting.
That makes sense.
I started with music. I started playing drums because my brother, he played drums. He's phenomenal. And went to Belmont, all that stuff. And so I'm 9 years younger than him. So I was like, oh, my hero. I'm going to play drums too. And I'm decent. I'm pretty good. Nashville standards, I'm like, okay. So,
I hear that.
Yeah. Just outside Nashville, like, yeah, sure. People would be like, yeah, be our man. Here it's like, I'm here for fun, guys. I'm not here for a job. So all that to say, like I found that dancing is enough to kind of almost, but not quite scratch the itch. So yes, it is a music thing, but it's not enough, right? For me personally. So what I found is like making time to write. And like, I'm trying to remember the last time that I shared anything I've written. So like, this is literally like therapeutic for me. And it's not even therapeutic. It's not like, oh my God, I feel so much better now that I wrote about this like stupid thing, whatever. No, it's literally, I don't know if you guys have this, but as somebody who I move all day, every day, right? In my job, right? When I go on vacation, the first 2 days, I'm like, yes. My wife loves to sit in a beach chair and not move. right? And read a book. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. I do that for 48 hours. After hour 49, and I'm talking to the T every time, I'm like, I gotta fucking move. Like, I gotta go. Like, I have this like built up energy. Like, I'm just overflowing with it because I'm so used to this amount of
You're
activity.
not moving all the time. You're doing something physical all the time.
All the time. So my job is physical. So like this is what I'm used to, and then this is what I'm doing. And after 2 days, hour 49, I got to go do something. So anyways, that feeling is what I get when I write. A lot of times. Writing comes from this like, I have to do this or I'm going to go bloody insane.
Almost like a compulsion.
It is. It's fascinating. Right. And like, I haven't really pursued, and I should, the whole like songwriting thing and all that because I should spend a little more time, but I'm just getting to that like healthy place in life of like, okay, work's good, wife's good, and like house is like we just moved this year into a house from 700 square feet condo, right? During COVID when I barely worked and she worked from home. Talk about hell.
700 square feet. That's tough.
And then we moved to a house in March of this year. So it's been 9 months, almost a year. And yeah, so it's like all these things are finally like, I'm like, okay, now I can actually think about this. So it's just fascinating talking about this music stuff.
Interesting question. What the fuck does that have to do with therapy?
No, the whole thing about therapy.
No, the thing is therapeutic.
So therapeutic.
Yeah.
What, and,
Wow,
no,
what a
no,
listener,
whole,
Ryan.
No, the whole thing about therapy was that I found out in therapy that like, yes,
Okay, this is what
dancing is the music thing, but it doesn't scratch the itch.
It doesn't scratch the itch of creativity.
And I'm not engaging in music. I'm dancing along with it, not with, I'm not in it.
You're
I'm
not making it.
Yes. So creating is definitely it, but like I'd probably get the same like need fulfilled if I was in a band. Even if I wasn't the writer and I just was a drummer or something, probably because there's some kind of creativity to that, right? But it's just the engagement of actually making music, whether by myself, preferably with others. But I write a lot by myself because there's time constraints in life.
Sure.
And I'm just working, you know?
Yeah.
Do you find like in the dance world, do a lot of dancers, like, are they also musicians?
No, I'm a weirdo.
Okay, interesting.
I'm also a weirdo because in the circuit, so you know, early in the competition I talked about the competition. Earlier in the episode, I
This
talked
is a
about,
competition.
This is a competition.
Yes.
Yeah. So far, you have 7 points.
Yes.
For those keeping track at home.
Oh my god. So the circuit and all of that, 95% of the instructors that are on the circuit that are competing in the circuit are not from America.
Really?
That's a lot.
What's wrong with our country that we don't be dancing?
Because people from Eastern Europe, the guy the studio I'm at, he's from South Africa. Any European, basically based country, they start their kids between 5 and 10.
Oh, so they're like
especially
way
Russia.
better than us?
No, they just start them so early. So yes, they're better because they start early, right? So all these other guys are like from Russia, Ukraine. They're from even some from England, and like in America, this has become a business. Worldwide, it's more of China now is scary, but that's a whole nother issue. So in the dance world, it's really crazy.
Really?
But
What do you mean? Like scary? Like they're so good, or
they're great, but they're just so like the cultures are so different from what. And I've been there, so I kind of get it. Now this was in the '90s, so it's changed some, but like there's like it's like if you do it wrong, like you know, like the ruler kind of thing that you think about Russian ballet teacher, whatever. I don't know if you know that connotation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's popular, if that's just my
No,
experience.
I think that's fairly popular.
Okay. I was just
At least
curious
I
because I'm
know
like,
what you
that's
mean.
what I know of, but like I have had a weird experience. So the Russians, they like you think of it like the ballet teacher, like cracking the whip, if you will, the ruler, or if you will. China is just so intense, and they're like, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it exactly the way it's supposed to be. And I'm like, you don't know your left from your right. You know, sometimes it's an interesting, like when they first start, they're like, I want everything. And I'm like, you got to like build, You got to lay a foundation and then build. It's just so intense. That's the best way to put it. That's why I say scary. And also, some of it's influenced by, like, China's just a scary place to me because it's controlled by a small group of people, and it's really weird. Like, everything is controlled by a small group of people. I know.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
wow.
interesting,
We
like-
can make some comparisons to that.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I completely agree with you.
When you
It-
think of like Russia and China, they're both like, is Russia communist still, or they're like post-communist?
Well,
they're post,
they're
technically.
definitely post, but
Technically.
there's a lot of there's a lot of gray area
Leftovers.
there.
There's just, I would say leftovers is the best way to put it.
Yeah, 100%.
it's like countries that are like,
Well, they have a
s-
dictator, so.
But the thing is, like, I mean, a lot of different countries have widely different cultures than what we're used to, and some of them we look at and we go, "That's wrong" or "That's bad," and maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't
Like,
think it's wrong. I just
I don't
said
know.
China's just scary. That's all.
But it's
crazy.
I will say, so my wife lived in China for a year.
Yeah.
When we were dating, and
fascinating.
I went out and visited her for a couple of weeks, and we stayed most of the time in Beijing, and then after that,
When is this?
2012
Okay, I was there in
or
98.
maybe 13.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did most time in Beijing, and then we stayed the
So this
last.
is when they cleaned it up.
Much so, yes.
Yeah,
I've
'cause
heard
when I
it
went,
was way worse.
Disgusting.
It was. I mean, it wasn't like.
It's a city.
It's still a
city is a city,
Yeah, it's
but
still,
I'm saying
it's
like
still
when
a
we were
nasty,
there.
big ass city with crazy pollution.
Yeah,
but
that
not
was-
nearly as bad as it was. Like I've heard, like in the
it's
90s, 80s, it was just like a wasteland. And then we stayed the last 4 or 5 days of the trip where she was living, which was a much more rural town,
Okay, interesting.
and vastly different cultures.
Right?
So in Beijing, like when we were there, I was like, I don't like it here. Like people are mean. Like what they do, the thing that I found was that happened a lot was, I'm obviously an American. When they can pick you out a mile away.
Mile away.
And if I like asked for directions or something, I didn't know a word of Chinese. My wife knew some. I didn't know any. But if I would ask any question of anyone who lived there, they would just stare at me and say nothing. Just silence. And just look at me until I walked away. And immediately I was just like, this place fucking sucks. Like, what is wrong with these people?
That's nuts.
Like, I grew up in San Diego, right next to Mexico. Like, if you're on someone who doesn't speak the language, which was all the time, you try, right? You talk louder for no reason. You point at things. Like, you try to gesture. You do you do your best, And they just didn't. And then we went to the rural area. 180, the nicest, friendliest people. You wouldn't guess they're oppressed at all. Like they were just having a great time.
Fascinating.
Because they don't know.
That was not something I experienced, but I was also 10, so I want to put that in
Sure.
perspective.
But then in the cities was
Yeah,
just,
it was rough.
oh my God. I was like,
everywhere I went, didn't matter where. Everywhere I went, it was like I had a name plastered on my forehead. They called me Soft American Boy.
say soft.
Soft. Because at that time in 98, like they're like being chubbier is a sign of wealth. It's
Yeah.
fascinating, right? Like they're just little things that like I was like, why? Like I didn't get. My favorite part was when. So I am quoting an event that happened in history, not actually making any kind of racial whatsoever. This is for all the listeners. So it's a fantastic story. We were in China. We went to Hard Rock Cafe. There was this trio of Chinese guys that were hanging, like playing music. And they were doing them in English and heavy Chinese accents, like really heavy. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it is what it is. The guy has the balls to say, this next one is one that we wrote. This is 1998. Music in China at that time, I don't know nowadays, I can't speak to that, but at that time, everything was a minimum of 20 to 35 years behind the rest of the world. It's kind of like the Midwest. When you go to small towns in the Midwest, you're like, are you still in the 80s? Like, I'm confused.
You haven't quite caught up yet.
So, like, it's fascinating. I love it. So, sorry. They start playing, and my whole family, musicians, remember? Mom, dad, musician.
Right.
Sister did it. Brother's still in the music industry. Like, we all grew up playing some kind of instrument, singing, whatever. And we all just slowly look over our shoulders at this band, like our jaws just dropping at the audacity of saying this is their song. It's been a hard day night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day night, and I've been sleeping like a law.
Oh,
And when you how we do, like it was ridiculous. I was like, first,
you wrote that, right? You wrote that?
It's fucking Christmas morning.
God. I just couldn't believe it, man.
That's phenomenal.
At 10 years old, I couldn't believe it.
That's
You know?
really-
Well, here's
That's
what's funny.
amazing.
My band plays that song as a cover.
And you always say you wrote it. No,
And
no.
I joke that we wrote
No.
it.
Okay, but
Right.
Because
You're
I
always
know
saying,
everybody
that
will
wasn't
know
a
we
joke.
didn't.
That was not a
Right.
joke. Sorry.
Wow.
Jeez.
Well, you know, it's interesting because as you were talking about, now I have no knowledge of China other than like things I heard and whatever.
Cheers.
I've never been.
I mean, your sister lived there for a year.
True. That's about the deepest connection I have to China. But when you're talking about like how Chinese culture would like approach dancing, like my impression of Chinese culture is that it's like extremely performance based and like very strict and like be perfectionistic.
Yes, that kind of performance based in the sense of it is what, not so much like performance based is also, you could say, American, right? Like how well you perform, but it's a very ego-centric performance.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? And then like Chinese culture is very, very much like at least my experience. Again, this was fucking like 20.
Right, this is a long time ago. It's just your
so
experience,
I can't say
right?
that. This is my experience. But even talking to people from China now, all those kinds of things, it's exactly what you said. Like it's performance result.
Results based.
Yes, yes, performance result. It's all about the results, not the performance, but about the results.
And that seems to lend itself towards like math science.
It does, because you can equate and you can say somebody, either yourself, their self, whatever. You can rank.
Right. It's more quantifiable.
Thank you.
But maybe
what-
not as much to songwriting
No, you're not wrong.
and creative arts. It's interesting. I forget who I was talking to somebody recently who's not from here, the U.S., and they were telling me how the U.S. is like the leader in entertainment and how
That's
like,
correct.
when
Oh,
you
yeah,
think
I
about
don't think
entertainment, you
anyone
think about
questions
us.
that.
And I think like we all kind of know that, but also, you know how like you think you know things, but actually you have like a super U.S. centric view because it's
Oh, yeah.
all you know.
100%.
Yes.
But then, like, every so often, you meet somebody from somewhere else who confirms your U.S.-centric view. Not on everything, but on this issue, they're like, oh, yeah, when we watched entertainment growing up, it was U.S., and that is the standard.
I mean, think
That
how
was
many
for 50 years.
How many
Yeah.
German
Since
bands
World War II.
have blown up in the U.S.?
Right, yeah.
Oh,
How many U.S. bands have blown up in Germany?
right.
Right.
You know what I
that's
mean?
crazy.
Like we know it's different.
Do you guys know the whole? This is total side note.
Yeah.
David Hasselhoff thing about Germany.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
cool.
love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. So I was in Germany. I was 19, and taking like a walking tour, and it was one of those rare, like, they still kept them of one of his posters from like 1980s, whatever. And it was David Hasselhoff on a poster and like mustache and like X through the eyes, like like defaced. Right? Do you know anything about this David Hasselhoff
I
thing?
just know, like, Norm Macdonald used to talk about how he was famous in Germany.
Well, have you heard his
David
song
Hasselhoff,
that blew up over there?
David
Get in my car or
Hasselhoff was
whatever?
like a demigod in Germany at the
yeah,
time.
I've heard.
Right, like he was huge. Like loved him. They adored him.
When the U.S. had forgotten about him, Germany
Yes.
never did.
Yes, they never did. But then, a couple years after the Berlin Wall went down, he tried to say in an interview that he was the reason the Berlin Wall went down.
Oh, wow.
And Germany straight up,
We're like,
with
"Fuck you."
overnight, excommunicated him. Like he went from stardom to like, you're dead to us. Gone.
I've never
Gone.
heard that before.
Yeah, that's what was fascinating. And he was like, the guy who was showing us, he was like, this was supposedly like Adolf Hitler's bunker and like showing us all this stuff. And then he's like, so you need to know a little bit about David Hasselhoff because he also has a history here. And we're like, what? I'm like 19
Tied
at
with,
the time.
with Hitler.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Right up there.
crazy. I was like, why is this coming up? And like they just really don't like him because he like tried to claim something that was absurd. And like he had a delusional look. I mean, which makes total sense. You look at him and you're like, you look delusional, but that's fine. Like
But like he saved some people in the ocean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
no, he showed up and he pretended.
Yeah,
Remember?
he just
That's what
pretended.
Jerry- That's what Jerry said. Like,
That's acting.
Oh man.
It's interesting. One thing I think about, this is like taking it back to what you were talking about before, but you're talking about like Chinese performers, or just you think about these countries like China, Russia. Like, there's different countries that are
Eastern
like
Europe too.
that are like on the rise. Like China's economy, like it's like they're like
you're
rivaling us.
talking about the one side of World War III.
Correct.
Right.
So like there's like this rivalry between our countries, but they seem to be, they're still in a very like, I don't know what to say, like a more like authoritarian and like people are following the rules kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like if you think about us, like not one of us is following the rules. We like
Trying to figure out how to
Americans-
break the rules.
Right.
Here's perfect Americans. We're just hanging out and we're like, oh, people would love to hear us talk. Let's make a podcast.
Yes.
And then we're like, we'll just go buy all of the equipment you need with the money we have. And then we're just going to make our own show and no one's going to say we can. And we just do it and we say whatever we want. And we're going to have no plan and that's fine. And nobody approves of this. And
that doesn't
fuck
fly everywhere.
you. And that's us.
We are the Wild West.
And there's no,
Yeah.
and one thing I think about is like, well, our country has been like financially secure, sorta, for like a really long time.
Yeah.
And if you think back, generationally, like our grandparents versus our parents versus us, how we live, like you slowly, our whole generation, like, is so artsy and just like does these unique freelance careers of whatever we want. That's not what it used to look like.
No.
Right? But like we got to be this way because we grew up in a certain level of affluence.
Yeah.
And I wonder about these other countries that are living in a place where like things are not so secure for them, so they have to perform at this like very high level. But like, I don't know, maybe one day they will have a certain level of security. Like if China becomes the number one superpower in the world, like
Will they
down
get
the
that?
line,
Yeah.
Right. Chinese students probably lax up and they're like, all right, it's okay for you to be artsy now. And then it's a whole different culture. Like I
Wow.
think we've been sort of shaped by the fact that like none of us here have had to like fight in a war or face a depression or like.
But there is an
Right.
underlying thing about that I think is really important. And I don't want to get super deep into this because, like, let's be honest, none of us know that much what the hell we're talking
No,
about.
we don't.
But-
We're just like thinking.
But I do like
I'm
thinking
thinking
about
out
stuff.
loud here. Yeah.
But we have, and here's the thing: everyone goes, "Yeah, America's the best country in the world." I don't know if that's true or not. More or less, I'm thinking it's South Korea. But
That was random.
but nonetheless, like one thing that we have that,
but I believe it's
most,
Sri Lanka.
Oh, fair enough. That most other nations don't have is a protected right of free speech. Even countries like Canada, which is often compared to the U.S., does not have that constitutionally, and that does make a big difference. Like it is a thing.
Really? They don't?
No, and
They don't have free speech.
Nope, not constitutionally protected free speech at the minimum. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some laws, but
Yeah.
and now, granted, I know all this from talking to one guy who I know is Canadian. But so like he could be wrong.
Well, he got a
He could
really
be
hope
wrong.
floppy tongue.
Yeah, it's floppy.
Right
That's
about
his screen name.
this.
Yeah. It's just floppy now. It's just floppy now. But yeah, he's the guy I talk to. But and that's what he told me is there is no constitutional protected free speech.
According to avid video game player Floppy Dongus, Canada's
It's just he changed it. It's just floppy now. All right, he grew it. He's an adult now. He's an adult. It's floppy TM. It's but
That's amazing.
He used
anyway,
he,
you were about
he used
to
to
talk
moderate
about
this
Canada's
podcast.
free speech based on.
Oh, but they don't have it. In most countries don't have it.
They
the
don't be
UK,
having
from
it.
what I understand, doesn't have it. And it, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm
Google
making
it,
these faces
Wesley.
because I have no fucking fucking clue.
Fact check me.
They don't be amending their constitution.
And that kind of is in a big way the foundation from which all of us operate. Is I can
Right.
Well,
say
think about this
whatever the
podcast.
fuck I want.
Yeah. Think about
We
this
are
podcast.
the free speech
We are
podcast.
We're talking about so much shit that, like, in China, we would be like,
Is that
Probably
Canada's
pulled
law?
off.
Oh, that's the UK. That's UK. Freedom of expression. There's a freedom of expression law. Yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah, look at
that looks
Canada.
right
it looks right.
in a sense of it's
To an
kind of the
extent, to an
same
extent.
thing.
That
as
could be the
speech.
same. I could be
I
wrong.
don't know if we're the only country, but
Okay.
I do believe that I would argue in your case.
I don't think we're the only. I think there are others, but
I think there are more than maybe you're alluding to, but I do believe we're the ones that leaned into it the heaviest.
Yes.
We
Like,
went pretty
because-
that's kind of our main
We
deal.
have Texas.
Yeah.
We come
Yo,
back
bitch,
to
we got Texas.
but like the truth that and like the joke I just made is more of like we have,
3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Thank
we
you,
have-
Texas.
we have those people that like are willing to just like, no, my dick's bigger than yours.
Right.
Like I love it. Like it's
My dick's
great.
bigger than yours, and I have a gun to back that up.
Just like
Texas.
Teddy Roosevelt, who has the bigger stick, right?
That's way too much to read, Wesley. I ain't going to read that.
Wesley,
Not gonna
just
lie.
read the important part to us. You have a mic.
Canada does not use the words free speech or freedom of speech. Rather, freedom of thought, belief, and opinion
Oh,
are
wow.
included in their freedoms.
But that's thought, belief, and opinion. That's internal.
Interesting. So internally,
different.
But
you
can't they?
which is just such a self-evident fucking fact.
Right. Like, obviously, you can believe what you want internally. We can
as long
just
as you
say
don't
it.
say anything.
We can say it here.
A friend, you internally you can believe whatever you want. We can't actually control your brain.
Just keep that shit
eh?
to yourself.
Your brain can't be affected by us, just so you know, eh? But don't say shit. Canada. I wanted to also point out, to your point, an interesting other fact about the U.S. is that if you think about our country, we are surrounded mostly by oceans, and then we have two neighbors, Canada and Mexico. Mexicans are cool as shit.
I know.
They're not fucking with us.
I know.
Nope.
And Canada are very nice people, and they're staying on their side of their border and just like being friendly and
They're
you
not.
know,
They're not
really
interested.
They're
Yeah.
just more interested in not being American.
correct. They're just doing their thing up there.
Because I get it sometimes.
Versus a lot of other countries are surrounded by
like 50 other countries.
yeah, they're surrounded by like we
That's
got
true.
an enemy on this side and a friend on this side, and that's got to add a whole lot of other
Yeah.
interesting dynamics and tensions.
It's a lot. We are definitely
It's a lot.
We are definitely also as a G7 country.
Ooh, what does that even mean?
So it's the council or whatever. I'm trying to remember exactly what it is, but basically G7 represents like the 7 countries that are basically allies and also economically similar.
Yeah.
It's silly. So all that to say, we're the only like Canada is a G7 country, but I'll be honest, I think it's mostly because we're their neighbors, not because
And we're like friendly enough. We're like,
We hooked them up.
man,
95% of Canadians live within 20 miles of the U.S. border.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
yeah. Also, the entire population of Canada is almost exactly the population of California.
That is true
It's
too.
crazy.
They have 25 million.
Yeah,
we
California's
have
about
330 million
It's a little
in
different.
US.
So you're saying we're in a club, and one night we were like, "Bro, Canada, you gotta show up, man. This is my buddy Canada. He's a good guy, man. He's a little fruity, but like he's a good guy. He's a good guy. Let Canada show up to the party.
That's exactly it. No, yes,
He's
but
gonna
they
be
have a
real
good
nice. He's
economy.
got good
They're
syrup.
solid.
Yeah, there's a lot of good
especially
stuff
for
with Canada.
especially for like 25 million people. Like when you think about it, like that's
Yeah, they're doing pretty good.
pretty great.
They're
It's the
doing pretty good.
same exact one as Australia. So they have 25 million as well.
Now,
No.
to make a
Yeah.
hard topic shift,
Oh, so
man.
I was just about to say, I can tell that you're trying to topic shift.
how do you know?
It's fucking Christmas morning.
And
We don't even have to say shit. That is topic shift.
that
to
is
us.
the topic.
But I
just
did
amazing.
want to make a disclaimer. if you're a person out there who thought anything we just said was informative, we're 3 guys drinking bourbon. Almost
well, no, this is rye.
That is correct.
I think it's a rye.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
like
we don't know what the
Speaking
fuck
of
we're talking
whiskey.
about.
yeah. If you based an opinion off of what we just said,
Don't
you're
do
not-
that. Do your own
no,
goddamn
you're-
research,
Yeah,
please.
be an adult.
Be an
But-
adult.
Be an adult.
Exactly.
That's just what we guessed off
These
the
are
top
just
of our
our
head.
opinions.
It was kind of
obviously.
fun to do.
Our thoughts and opinions of what's in our head.
And by the way,
It's fucking Christmas morning.
this is my favorite thing.
maybe the episode should be called "It's Fucking Christmas Morning."
Maybe I don't think YouTube will allow that. Maybe we keep this button all year. I don't know.
It's clucking Christmas morning.
It's Clucking Christmas Morning.
Then you can post it and you don't have to worry about it.
It's clucking. That's perfect.
Before we go into your question, right? So as we took a break, folks, and I had to pee. Sorry. So we started talking about sex, as guys do, and in my family, it was very normal since I was a young kid. My parents would talk about sex in front of us, right? And when I say talk about sex, what I mean is like they would show interest in each other. Like whether it's a slap on the ass or like, well, last night it was
like,
great. Like it wasn't descriptive because that's
it
disgusting.
wasn't like, so I was banging your mom last night.
They're turning the frogs gay.
So it wasn't that, but like, so that was normal, right? So talking about sex between a married couple. And it was definitely like very Christian household in the sense of like, nope, no sex before marriage, all that. Whether it happened or not doesn't really matter. They were just very like, okay, be safe if you're going to do it. Right. But I have found especially because I grew up in the South and I live here, still in the South.
Didn't you grow up in North
North Carolina, which is the same latitude as Nashville.
Oh, really? Still the South.
Yeah,
Okay.
Raleigh. Oh, it's hardcore. Yeah. So Nashville's the belt buckle.
Mason-Dixon
We're
is
just the other side of the belt buckle.
Right.
So
Just a fucking belt hole.
yes, that is North Carolina. It's actually a fantastic state.
Yeah, I've heard only good things, to be fair.
Yeah, because it's kind of awesome.
Everyone loves North Carolina.
It's better
Yeah.
than North Tennessee. Shh. So all that to say, it was like that was normal for them to talk about them having sex, but like after that, like especially being in the South, like even as an adult, most guys won't talk about sex, right? Especially in the church, right? Because I'm still in the church and all that. Like it's just kind of a taboo and also a tender subject for a lot of guys. Is my assumption? I don't know. I've started just like talking to people about it. I'm just like, how is it with your wife? Like, what's going on? And I talk about mine. And it's like, this is awkward. Let's push through this because this is a narrative that needs to be talked about. Because let's talk about porn for a second, right? Like, I know this is like total hard right. But like, it is crazy, right? As somebody who has an addictive personality, porn's never been addictive for me. But I totally get it. Like, I get why when you hear some superstars, right? Like somebody like John Mayer said that he prefers porn over real sex, right? Wow. That was an interview he said, right? And it's like, one, that's sad. And two, that's like, oh my God, we have like destroyed so much of our neural pathways, you know? Because all it's doing every time I say this in dancing all the time, teaching is that you strengthen whatever you repeat. So I take that into all of my life. You strengthen whatever you repeat. So like my goal is to strengthen the things that, you know, aren't bad for me. Right? So in general, I'm not always successful because I'm human.
You know, one thing we've been repeating that I'd like to strengthen.
It's fucking Christmas morning.
Fucking love it. So good. So I want to come back from that, but it was just like, it's fascinating. Nobody will, like most guys won't talk about sex, especially if they're married, because it's like, that's a private thing. And it's like, yeah, but this is your boy. Like, you're going to help, especially somebody who's ahead. Are you going to help somebody who's coming up into that? I wish. I wish I had more of that.
I'm just so schoolboy that you just said ahead.
Yeah.
And then you said somebody who's coming into that.
That's why we don't talk about it, Ryan.
That's why men can't talk.
That's why we can talk.
This is why we need therapy. No, I have the exact opposite experience of you. where my parents probably haven't mentioned the existence of sex,
That's fascinating.
but that my main place that I've ever talked about it is with friends, and friends absolutely have talked about it.
I've had friends, but not a lot. It's usually people who are not in the church.
You've only had a
things
few
like
friends.
that. Huh? Only a few.
I've had friends, but not a lot.
Not a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Le poop.
That's interesting. I mean, you're in the technical South, although it's called North Carolina, and the next state is not
Right.
the South anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the South
Virginia's
is determined
still-
by a very specific
The
line.
Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
Dixie.
But we're from the much souther.
Well, no,
Dixon.
it's Dixon.
It's Dixon.
It's not Dixon.
I'm wrong.
Mason-Dixon.
It's Dixon.
But we're from the much souther, but not considered part of the South, San Diego. And
Yeah, but much
God,
further
your culture-
geographically
Your
south.
culture is crazy different.
yeah.
Oh yeah, when I moved
Holy
here, it was like moving to
shit.
another country.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And
I've only been there once, and I was like, "This is lovely."
Everyone's so chill. Everyone's just like, "That's cool."
in my main years of talking about sex ages, I was a part of the church, and we talked about it.
Because you should. It's
But-
a continuing conversation, is what it should be, right? I'm sorry, I get a little bit on.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Like,
Yeah.
like, man, it
People
bugs
should probably
me.
talk about it.
It
It's
bugs
weird.
me.
It's weird that it's something that's so like core to human experience, and it's what creates all the people.
Right.
You know what else is weird? It's like not that big of a deal. Like it's fine. Like I think we all take it way too seriously.
Just like
Yeah,
drinking.
but that's weird
Just like
because
drinking.
you're still a virgin, and so it's odd.
Yeah,
that you
yeah, of course. I've been married to your sister for 7 years. Definitely still a virgin. Not even one time. Obviously, it's your sister. I couldn't disrespect you like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
wow.
We have a new sound effect we haven't tried yet. Let's just see if it
one?
works.
It's the real Santa. Praise Jesus.
That was great. That was so ridiculous. How many more do we have?
Only one that we've never pressed.
There's one more sound effect.
Do you know what it is?
We know which button it is.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
And we should
Do
tell
you know
you.
what it is.
No, we don't know.
Okay, you don't.
It's that one.
Okay.
It's this one. Watch Ian, because you're going to press it.
I'm so
Whenever you
excited.
feel ready.
Titties.
Don't press it. Oh, you almost did it.
I almost ruined everything. I almost stole Christmas. The Ryan who stole Christmas. So that green button there next to the yellow button.
I got it.
Yeah.
Now I do know we're coming up fairly close to our wrap up time here, but
Yeah. You had
Didn't
some
you have
questions.
but I did have actually
Let's actually
on
get
topic
back on
questions
track.
in a rare move by me, trying to bring things back on topic. I've literally never done that on this show.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I feel privileged.
Because we're trying to talk about sex.
Right.
Titty sprinkles.
What did it just say?
Listen, what did you say?
sprinkles.
No. What did you just say a minute ago? We're trying to talk about
Sex.
Sex.
Titty sprinkles.
That was perfect. Wow.
You know, I had a guy.
Ian Meeks, God loves you after all.
He does, man.
You know,
he likes.
I don't
me.
know.
We should just end the episode there.
That's
Merry
the end.
Christmas,
The end.
everyone.
Bye.
The,
Merry Christmas and titty sprinkles.
So I don't know where that's from. Do you know where that's from, Wesley?
No.
I have no idea, but
Wesley.
but
I want to find out. I want to watch
yeah.
it.
I stream on Twitch a lot, and I don't know if you know
Okay.
what Twitch is, but
I know what it is, but I've never done it.
Oh,
So
it's dope.
keep going.
We used to stream the show on Twitch, but we stopped
Sick.
because too many technical problems. But I had a guy who used to come chat in my chat all the time named Titty Sprinkles, and I wonder if he got it from this.
Wow.
And now I really want to know where that's from.
And I think if you're listening at home, you wouldn't know, but this button is labeled Morgan Freeman. So that's
didn't
Morgan
know.
Freeman saying titty sprinkles.
not know that.
Titty sprinkles.
Now that to me
no, who
sounds
is that
like a
voice?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. It's gotta be, right?
It's not him. Hold on. Listen real quick.
Titty sprinkles.
It's like someone doing a Morgan Freeman.
That it is that. There's somebody else who could be. Who is it?
Titty sprinkles.
Is it
Okay,
yay?
I'm stopping.
It never
yay?
stops being good.
Yeah, it's so good.
I don't know.
That's
but
delicious.
okay, so I have a question for you.
So good. That's the last one.
Right, it's perfect.
that we found.
As a dance instructor,
Yes, sir.
so I've been to one dance lesson in my life,
Okay.
and
Really?
one time ever, and it was a trick. I
That's awful.
was dating your sister, who I'm now married to, And
have never had sex with.
No, only one time.
Bingo.
And we on Valentine's Day, we went to LA. We live in San Diego, went to LA. And we're doing shit, and she's like, I have a surprise for us.
He's pulling his cock out. Surprise.
That's your sister you're talking about. and she goes, I have a surprise for us. I bought us swing dance lessons for tonight.
Okay.
Which, by the way,
a great surprise.
Not a great way to surprise someone, especially because she knows, like, I don't dance.
You know what's a better way to surprise somebody?
He's pulling his cock out. That is phenomenal.
And so we went. So we went to this.
This is a vicious circle. These two sound
is.
effects.
So she took us. It was like in this high rise. It was like some guy's house that they had turned into a dance studio.
That's weird.
But it was like very professional.
Okay.
Like, it didn't feel weird. It didn't feel weird. That part.
Did he come out in a robe?
No.
I'm going to teach you how to cha-cha.
Well, it ended up. So I guess it was
Welcome to LA.
a group lesson.
Okay.
So a bunch of other people showed up, and they had clearly always go here.
Mm-hmm.
And I both don't dance and have never been here.
Yeah.
And it's in LA, and this is a surprise, and I'm in jeans, and I'm confused.
Oh, and they're not in jeans. They're like dressed up.
Some are, some aren't. Some people are just more casual.
Okay.
Some are more in like a thing, outfit.
With this group where they're like, we're going to swing dance.
It is LA.
And the thing is, after the lesson, this was like the week of the month, they do like a dance afterwards, and they opens the studio up for just a public dance.
Yeah, you have a party.
Yeah. And so I went and hated it the whole time. It was so awkward. And there was like 30 people. And it was weird, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and they were trying to get me to do shit. I was like, I don't know how to move in that way. Like, I'm a fucking clunky dude. Like, I don't fucking know.
I got you.
I hated it. Was my point. It was awful, and I hated everything.
I couldn't
about it.
figure it out, but yeah.
So I can only expect.
How did you feel about this experience?
Awful. So I only expect that there's got to be situations when some chick is dragging some dude to come do dance lessons.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Very normal.
That's super common.
It's very normal.
My wonder is, how do you deal with that? And can you break down that? Can you break that down?
So there are two things. One we already talked about earlier is the yay factor. That's absurd.
Yeah.
The campiness. Like it's a lot.
See, I'm someone who's real immune to that kind of thing.
And like I understand it, but it's also like, hey, the whole point of that campiness and the yay factor, in my opinion, the reason why I even indulge in that is to remind people, like, it's just dancing, right? It's just dancing. Like, this is not brain surgery. This is not something that no one's judging you. You're going out there to have fun with somebody else. That is the point. So that's what the yay factor, that's what the campiness kind of brings to. So I found in general, though, if I, like, for example, if I have a lesson with somebody in a sense of one-on-one, that's what I do pretty much exclusively, is just, let's say with a couple, whether it's a wedding couple or just people who are wanting to learn how to dance, my goal is for her to feel pretty or something like that, and for the guy to feel like he knows what he's doing. So most guys
like
that
fairly confident in what the thing they're doing is.
they're confident because they know what to do. So in my opinion, that the dance floor in social culture, so just think about socially, at least in America, where's the scariest place? The dance floor, period. That is the scariest place for men.
Oh,
especially.
for me, 100%.
And not just you. I'm saying that is... I'm talking
thing,
like
yeah.
that's facts, man. And I'll talk about some facts that are really actually pretty cool. So what I do when I have like a one-on-one lesson and I immediately I'm like, he's happy I didn't come out in spandex and be like, let's dance, you know? Like, like not that, like.
That probably means a lot.
An issue, but it's like, I'm kind of, if you could see the video, like, I'm not like some Trinity dude that's like, let's go dance, okay?
Right.
Or
you're just like a guy.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm just a dude. So that helps a lot. And then the second thing is I look at every guy and I'm like, look, my job today is to teach you what your job is while you're dancing. Because every guy even when you're hanging out as guys, we like something to do.
Right. This is your
Right.
responsibility.
My
This is
like
your job.
this is what your job is. So, and the truth is how it's designed too. Dancing, like guys are supposed to, make sure I say all this correctly after a few whiskeys. Is guys are supposed to keep the partnership, so the two of you, to the music. They're supposed to lead what's coming next, right? So they have to actually physically say, okay, you're going to turn now. They have to decide what we're doing next as a partnership, right? And then they also have to make sure you don't hit anybody else. Oh, and don't forget, dance your part. Do your steps. So that's 5 different jobs that a guy has. It's a lot. So in the beginning, like guys kind of have it harder, but later in dancing, as you get better, it switches. Like, because the girls have 2 jobs: follow the guy, whatever he's asking you to do, right?
Yeah, my wife's bad at that.
What was that?
My wife's bad at that.
Do not equate marriage to dancing. Not good. Not good. So on the dance floor only. So you follow.
What Ian told me when Ashley and I did
Yeah.
a few
This is
lessons
cool.
with him is that every girl's bad at that at first.
Everyone.
Like the thing girls have to work at is being led and not trying to lead.
Yes.
And I
Completely.
wonder if do you think that has to do with our era? Because in the past, like dancing was culturally normal. In our time, dancing is not normal. No guy knows how to dance or wants to.
Yes.
And every girl does
Yes.
want to, but can't because no guy wants to. And that's where we're at.
Yes.
And so like girls like try to lead the thing.
Yep. And it's
But
bad.
the way dancing is set up is the guy's supposed to lead.
He's supposed to. So that I always
so like
describe
when
it.
we were dancing, he would have to be like, Ashley,
Be done.
be
Be done with whatever you're trying to do right now. Remember, your job is to follow and to look pretty. Make us look good. That's the girl's job. Now, this is how it's designed. This is not me saying this is what it is. I'm telling you that's how it's designed.
Yeah.
Right? The steps, everything. So, like, the guy is the picture frame. How I describe it is the guy is the picture frame, the girl's the picture. Both are fine by themselves. They're way better together. Right? So, and they each have a different role to play, just like life. Like there's so much symbolism for relationships. It's beautiful, but it also don't take it too far. So that's what I tell people all the time. So I think it's a generational thing. It's fascinating because a lot of it is TV and different things. Not saying TV is evil. I'm saying it has given us a way to unwind, to do things that is not always conducive to social situations. So what I mean, let's just take, for example, there's this company called Arthur Murray. They've been around for a long time, right? So in I think it was 30s. Now, this is a story I've been told. I have not checked these facts. I hope you hear that, audience. And I've been told by multiple people, so I'm pretty sure it's true, but in my industry, that today there are 250 Arthur Murray studios in America, right? That's the company. They own 250 studios. There's one here in town. In the 30s, 40s, whatever it was, there are 2,500.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's before TV.
I thought 250 was too many.
I was like, that sounds like a lot.
I'm like, wow, so many studios this company owns. 2,500?
20.
That's crazy.
10 times. Because that's what people did. They didn't go to the movie. They might have gone to the movies, but then
That's
they
more
go
rare,
dancing.
yeah.
Right? But the movies would be like, you do the movies, but then you go dancing. You go do, like you do something else. Like even other times. Like it's just fascinating. Like that the change in the culture of like, instead of social interaction, it's definitely become much more about the nuclear family, instead of like, no, we're a village. Like we're all in each other's business.
That's interesting.
Good or bad, whatever you want to say about that. That's just the truth of what's happened, is that my yard starts here, your yard starts there.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. Like that's what it is. And so that whole concept is like no longer in Europe, like remember Europe is the size of US.
Like all of Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. It's so many countries.
It's
Yeah.
absurd. So they were just crammed into a lot more smaller space, period. Just that was normal. And so anyways, like if you go to the Northeast, it's fascinating compared to the South because like my wife's from just north of Pittsburgh. So we go up there and like you have a town every 20, 30 minutes, whatever drive, and they've been there forever and it's just normal. Right? Whereas in the South, it's similar, but it's different. Like it's just, there's, without getting into that. So totally went off topic. But yeah, so what I normally do is I give the guy a job. If I teach the guy the job, right? So getting back to the dancing thing, if I can get the guy to understand, like, this is your job, this is what you do, I'm going to show you how to do it. Can you mimic that? And they do it, and they're like, oh shit, I can. And then it's like, oh yeah, because it's not crazy hard. I'm not going to make you like a prima ballerina or something, but I will definitely get you to where, and any decent instructor, not even good, just decent one, can get you to where you can just enjoy dancing with your partner.
Because the guy's role is like, take a step and then move your hand like this.
Yes.
But then the girl has to go twirl, twirl, twirl.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I say
that's the picture frame picture thing.
Yes. And
She's
like,
doing the thing, and you're just like, if I do,
you're framing it.
Meh, she goes.
Freaking love that description. It's so accurate though. Like the guy's part in the beginning, especially the first couple of lessons, is way harder because he has 5 jobs. Right? My goal is to make that as easy as possible. Right. You know, it is what it is. You have to do it. I can't do it for you. But then the girl's job, as you, like you just said, Ryan, like as you guys get more quote unquote advanced, and it's not like it takes more than 2 lessons, the girl's part gets twice as hard. The guy's part doesn't.
Yeah, I think you said that like for a guy it's hard in the beginning.
Yep.
But it's like once you get it, it's easier, and the girl's part's harder as it goes.
Correct. So it evens out in the end, is what I've found. Doing this, I mean, full-time 10 years now.
But like plug, if you are a guy who wants to dance with a girl or a girl who wants to dance with a guy,
oh god, yeah,
and you're looking for a fun thing to do, it's a really fun thing to do.
It is.
And for guys out there, I've found in my long single journey that that most of the other guys my age don't know how to dance or aren't like willing to try. But every girl wants to so much.
Yes.
And if you can just, I feel like I have had a lot of standout moments where like there's a lot of things that I don't know how to do as a guy to woo a girl. But that's like the one thing that I'm like, oh, I'm at a wedding. I could do this. Like I could spin her around a little bit because I know the most basic of things.
Great.
And she can have a fun time with me. And it is not like with very little training, you can have a great time with a girl. It's a worthwhile thing to try to do.
Totally. I completely agree. Because every guy can say, can I buy you a drink? But not every guy can say, do you want to dance?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, to be fair, every guy can say, do you want to dance? But not every guy could then, if she says yes, you're a little fucked.
Like you're really looking for the no there.
Yeah.
You're looking for like, can you just
Do you
buy me
wanna
a drink
dance?
actually?
Right?
You're like, thank you.
Please, all the drinks you want.
So good. So good.
Now I know we are. Yeah, we're coming up to our time
Yeah.
to start wrapping up here. But before
Just
we do,
checking that we've pressed every Christmas button.
I think we have pressed every Christmas button.
we
We've done
have.
really well. These buttons have been a delight. Thank you, Wesley. Oh, it's the least Christmassy button.
Now, there is one button that I think we pressed, but it might have been on a break.
I've got news for you. You are mine now. You belong to me.
We might have pressed that off a break.
Maybe,
I
But
don't
it's
remember.
fantastic.
It's
I
from.
love
It's
yeah,
from. Was it actually? No.
Is that the?
It's Arnold.
Arnold. It's
Number
Arnold
one.
in the one with the
Hell if I know it.
with the doll he's trying to get for his
toy.
kid.
Yeah.
The toy.
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. That's definitely what that's from.
Saw
That's a good- that's a
that
decent
in
one.
theaters.
Wow, you old fuck. But we do have one question that we do ask every guest.
Okay. Just think of that as a chicken.
Oh my God, we need this. We need this.
That's the movie soundtrack that's coming out next year.
Oh my God, I'm excited.
Wow.
Wait, is Jaws John Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is, right? Yeah.
Of course.
It's, I mean, if
It's
I know it, it's John
recognizable,
Williams. Yeah,
you know?
fair enough.
Like I will say there are a few like that. I don't know if they're that recognizable, but there are going to be enough people that love them, such as like Lord of the Rings.
Oh, it's
you know,
great.
The Shire, Harry Potter.
Yeah, the whole Concerning Hobbits is so good. I love Concerning Hobbit.
Yeah, that's good.
Did my wife walk down the aisle to Concerning Hobbits?
Yes.
Or her bridesmaids
I love how
maybe
you're
did.
asking him.
He was there. He was my best
You're
friend.
the one that got married, bro.
Concerning Hobbits.
I think
happened at your
my
wedding.
wife walked down the aisle to
That's
Concerning
beautiful.
Hobbits, or her bridesmaids did.
Yeah,
one or
yeah.
the
Yeah.
other.
It's true.
It was a part of your wedding.
Yeah, for sure
Got it.
it was. My wife loves Lord of the Rings.
You know,
that's
who into
amazing.
It's her
Lord of the
favorite.
Rings?
She calls it her favorite movie, and I'm like, it's a trilogy. It's
But
three movies.
You
What
know
do
who was into it first and probably got her into it? This guy.
You're not even that into it.
Not anymore.
Wow,
She took
you
on
lost
the
it.
mantle.
You lost your way.
That's such a Boromir thing to say.
It's fucking Christmas morning.
Oh, that's did we didn't hit this one.
Yes, we did.
We did.
It was,
It's so delightful.
It
That
is
makes me
delightful.
happy.
It's quite annoying earlier on in the episode. In a good way.
I didn't know how much
Yeah.
this is way more than we normally use these buttons.
I
love it. I love it.
But this is a
in.
one-time thing.
That's true, it's true.
And this is the Christmas special.
It is.
So you got to
It is.
enjoy.
But anyways,
Christmas is all about being campy and
so-
conventional.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you had to choose,
Oh, and you do.
and you do.
I'm stoked.
Okay, now hold on. The important thing to note about this question.
This
The
question
important
has a
note.
qualifying statement.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
It does.
yeah,
It does.
yeah,
It does.
yeah,
It does.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah,
answer must not come from here.
Okay, I understand.
He's pulling his cock out.
I've never thought of that. I've never thought of that connection before.
That's such a good connection.
That is so good.
And for the people who only listen to audio and don't see what just happened, he pointed to his head, meaning his brain.
No, the answer must come from here.
Titty sprinkles.
You know, it's not far off to say the answer must come from your titty sprinkles. You know, usually we say heart, but for this week, I'm going to say the answer
from your titty sprinkles.
Titty sprinkles.
this week. The answer comes from your titty sprinkles. So just be aware.
Okay.
Be aware.
Yeah.
So, but if you had to choose,
And you do.
and you do. Now, what that actually means in practice is I need an answer quickly.
Okay.
I don't want you to think about it.
Okay.
I want what's deep in your soul.
Okay.
Correct.
If you had to choose,
And you do.
Fuck you. I hope your whole family has a nice Christmas.
It didn't really apply.
what would you say is your favorite kind of turtle?
Sea turtle.
That's 4 episodes in a row. Somebody picked sea turtle.
Is it? No,
but a lot of sea turtles came up
Sea turtle is
recently.
common. Sea turtle's common.
Somebody came up.
They're the best.
I'm sorry. We had talked about before this episode swapping it for a Christmas question.
We
I couldn't-
did.
I couldn't think of anything good, and I kept with the turtle question.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
So that's
Sea
the
turtle.
question.
Yeah.
From
That's the basis of
your
this
interview?
entire podcast.
I fucking love it. Like that is absurd.
That's the question I came
Like,
up with,
We're
and I was
talking about like what I'm here for is the absurdity of chickens. Like that is
true.
so
That's
stupid
true.
absurd.
Yeah. You
That-
guys share
Oh,
this
that
in
makes me
common.
happy.
That's where everything came from.
You're into the absurdity of chickens. He's into the absurdity of turtles.
That's how I found out. We were talking about this
And I'm
before
just
the
a
show,
guy.
but that's how I found out my dad listens to this now. Is I just got a random text that was like, "My favorite turtle is," and I was like, "Oh no!" I was like, "You've heard too many things. You've listened to too many things."
Should have talked to him about sex jury number
Yeah.
1.
Sorry, number three. I'm 4.
Yeah.
But even so, the thing is, even before that, if somebody like sometimes people would come on the show,
Yeah.
and they know someone else who was on the show, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, I listened to their episode," and I'd be like, "Oh no, can we ask them the same question?" Because they know that we're going to ask that question.
Okay.
but they never know that question because no one gets fucking 2.5 hours in.
Some
people do, but yeah.
Last week we had Gabrielle Grace, and she actually listened to the entire episode.
Nice.
Yeah.
And she just
And
didn't
she was
remember
awesome.
what the question was. She knew there was a question. But she didn't remember what it was.
Right,
and so the
right,
question
right.
worked anyway.
Yeah, it did work anyways. But yeah.
So why do you pick sea turtles?
Yeah, why do you love sea turtles so much?
And I got to say this. We did this podcast before 2020, and then we stopped because of 2020, obviously. And in all of that
Very
time...
different show. Much higher production quality now.
It's a lot better. Before then, I don't think anybody ever answered sea turtle. I think that's only a new phenomenon. But we've been getting a lot of sea turtles recently.
We used to get a lot of box turtle.
Yeah.
That was probably the most popular answer.
Snapping turtle.
Yeah. Snapping, we get a lot of snapping.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is more of like, what is it? Like, what turtle? I
What
don't
turtle do
know
you
what
know?
other
Yeah.
turtle I know.
Well, we've got some like really like wild ones, like turtles. We know, like soft shell. We had to like look up some turtles before. Painted turtle, super cool.
Did
why
you
do
know
what?
people
Yeah.
eat turtles?
What?
Some people eat turtles. Yeah, we had a ninja once.
What?
You know, like Teenage Mutant.
But why did you pick sea?
Yeah. Do you have an attachment to sea?
I love the sea. Like, I can't wait to move to the ocean. I'm ready. I'm already ready.
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
ready to.
You're from North Carolina, which is how close are you to the ocean?
I mean, North Carolina's on the ocean.
It is, but how
I'm
close
from
were you? I mean,
Raleigh, 2 hours.
So
I grew up.
ways,
I grew up in.
ways.
Parents had a beach house for a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so we would go all the time. You know, especially during the summer and whatnot. But like all throughout the year, winter, anything.
All that Christian music money?
Yes, exactly. Nope. They after those 3 months on tour, they were done. So they didn't do any more music. So yeah, I love the sea, and also like seeing sea turtles. Definitely, I've swam with them before.
Oh yeah.
And touched them and stuff.
Yeah,
I
we
should
did.
say
Oh, you did in Hawaii because you're going to prison now.
That's $10,000 fine. Actually, $10,000
For each touch. And it depends if it was above the shell or beneath the shell.
No, we went.
Hey,
to,
your parents talk to you openly about sex. I feel
You're
like
not
we can
wrong.
have this conversation.
when we went to Hawaii for a friend's wedding a
Lovely.
couple of years ago, and it was the only time we'd ever been to Hawaii, and we swimming around, saw sea turtles, and blew my mind. And Ryan followed one for a while, right?
Did I ever share that story on the podcast?
Probably, but you can do it again.
There was a sea turtle. I don't know its name.
We were in
But-
Sharks Cove is where we were diving on
nice.
Oahu.
Oahu.
Yep.
And we saw this sea turtle, like, wow. So we started kind of following it. And I figured, like,
Yeah.
think
We
about,
left him. He was just following it
think
after
about
a while.
all of our experiences in life of following an animal. You can't stay with it for very long, right?
Yeah.
Because they're faster and they go places you can't go. This was the one time in my life I was able to follow an animal, and it worked out. And so I followed this sea turtle, and it did not try to outrun me, and I'm sure it could have. And I swam, and we had snorkels on, so I followed the sea turtle, and I was like, wow, I'm following a sea turtle right now through all sorts of reef and coves and whatever else. And then it led me to a little like opening, and inside this opening was a shark that was swimming in circles.
This turtle had to feed you the shark.
Yeah.
That was a smaller shark, right?
The turtle
It was small, but it was
was-
still a shark.
Obviously employed by the shark to bring fresh food.
I won't eat you if you bring my next meal.
100%.
You know,
amazing.
As a shark's go.
I have a very similar turtle story.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. I was also in Hawaii, and I was snorkeling, and a turtle, giant sea turtle, I was unaware of it, bumped into me. And I decided, like, oh, shoot, there's a sea turtle. Let me, like, follow it, much like you would. And the sea turtle decided to let me follow it for a while. And it kept turning around and, like, bumping back into me. And so I knew all the rules and, like, Hawaii, don't touch the turtle, right?
But it touched you.
But it touched me. And so
Loophole.
I eventually was just like, I need to do something to this like with this turtle, like it wants me to follow it or something.
Like go grab a drink
And
or
so I like, you ever seen like the James Bond movies where they like have the little underwater submarine torpedo things?
Oh,
that
yeah.
Yeah.
I grabbed onto the side of the turtle shell.
Oh fuck yes.
And it took me swimming along the way. And it just like, I let go and it would stop. And it just would turn around and look at me. And it was enjoying the situation of like, hey, let me lead you somewhere cool. But unlike you, it did not lead me to a shark. It just led to a reef. And it was a
favorite reef, though.
My
magical
home.
experience.
But you know what had to be underneath that reef though?
What?
A buried treasure.
Right? Yes.
Look, all I know is after this podcast airs, the Hawaii police are coming for us all. Like,
Hawaii 5-0. So the turtle, every time you let go of it, it looked back at you, was like, come on.
Correct.
The water's
exactly
fine.
that.
Come on, let's keep going though. Come on, Wesley. I want to swim you further.
oh man.
Wow.
Well,
You know,
Yeah.
all I can say to that,
It's fucking
Christmas morning.
I like how it just cuts.
I feel like we're in
Incredible.
that Key and Peele episode where they discover dubstep.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got to get it out here. But before we do, where can the people find you? Like your address?
Oh, not my address. So I mean, I have an Instagram called Ian K Meeks Dance, and that's the best place to start right now. And then on Spotify,
What is
Fowl
it
Play
again?
Presents.
Ian?
So on Instagram, it's Ian IANK. That's my middle name, Kelly. Ian K Meeks MEEKS Dance. All one word. That's my handle, if
Okay.
you will.
I just feel like we got to stop 1 second
Yeah.
and talk about your middle name.
Yeah.
Yes, Kelly.
Like Slater?
Kelly Slater.
Isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's not super common.
no,
for-
it's not
for a
coming
dude.
up. No, it's not for a dude, and it's KELLEY
Oh, it sounds
for dude.
That
It's very
feels
Irish.
Yeah.
It's very Irish, but it's because my grandmother, or great grandmother, so my dad's grandmother was like matriarch and like was of the family, and he's from the Bayou of South Louisiana, and like hardcore. Like she never finished like eighth
Like
grade
the
or
deep
whatever.
swamps.
Yeah. He came from a town of 5,000 at the time.
Your grandma swam out of the fucking bayou and was like,
The boy will be named Kelly.
No, they named it after me after her because she was such a strong spirit and held the whole family together because it got crazy for a while.
That's cool.
high
Yeah.
expectations for you.
That's cool.
Yep, that's why it's a middle name.
They're all, you're going to be a strong spirit who holds this family together a little bit.
but only half. Yeah.
I'm okay with it. But
All right,
yeah,
that's cool.
That's
Cool
where it came
story
from.
for it.
That's the
Yeah.
whole point.
That's good. I just want to make sure it was a cool story.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just make fun of you.
Yeah,
so,
you should.
But it's
I
cool.
was made
so.
fun
That's a
all my time.
girl's name.
That's the girls. I heard that all through elementary school.
And plus, you can pair that with you dance, right?
oh, dude,
Right. There's like there's a mirror
probably
there.
weekly. You know that I'm
Yeah.
asked if I'm gay. You know,
Really?
yeah,
Weekly?
yeah. Because like if I tell anybody that I'm a dance instructor, they're like,
Oh,
"Oh, really?
Gay question
do you
mark?
like
You hella gay.
immediately? It's fascinating. I mean, hell, my wife, right? When we were just friends before we started dating,
who is of the female variety?
right? Yes. Jessica. So she was like, "So are you gay? Are you interested? Have you ever tried? Have you dabbled? Have you explored?" Like it was a whole thing when she
Like,
first.
do you
started
wanna
asking.
try?
Right, and I'm like, nope, not even
Not my
close.
jam.
Like, it's just not for me. Like I don't. That's not my thing.
Right. It's like
I'm not interested.
It's like there's
Just
sometimes some
vice
foods
versa.
you don't like. You know?
What, what's it like being asked that on a regular
I'm
basis?
so used to it. I've been performing since I was 10.
Oh,
so
so
in
this
plays.
is just all the time.
So like I was also very used to being in a cast or a show or whatever, and I was the only straight guy. That was a normal thing. That's also why I did it, right? I did that. I did football too, but I mainly did theater because I was like, there's got to be one girl that's going to like me. You know, like the odds are so good. And I'm inside usually. Like I'm not sweating bullets outside. So like there was just a lot of upside that I figured out when I was 10. It was a funny story.
Playing the game.
Literally, I was the first time I started performing at 10. I was doing show choir. I know we have to quit. I was doing show choir, and but how she got me into it is like everybody was required to actually audition, yada yada, and she's like, you should do it. You can sing because my parents musicians and all that, and like you can dance. And I was like, nah, I don't want to. That's gay. And without missing a beat, this lady, right, picks up a roster and she goes, well, you be the 9th guy and the last one. And I have 49 girls so far. And I said, okay, I'm in. Immediately. 49. And from there on out, like I've just been doing show choir, musicals, and then turned into ballroom
Just
dancing.
slaying.
Yeah. It's not even slaying. I just around pretty women. I'm like, this is not bad.
Yeah.
So you're used to it at this point, but like when you were 10, was that hard or was it weird or this is just kind of...
It was not hard or weird because I didn't get it often. And like most guys kind of got it once they talked to me about it. Like but also like I've been in the arts for so long that like I am a little bizarre as a human. So
you do have a chicken band.
Exactly. So like I recognize the weirdness. And so I don't know. I never thought of it as difficult. I got sick of it like in high school or something. But
now you're just over it. Like,
I
no
just
matter.
don't
Like,
care.
who cares? Yeah.
I just think it's funny when people ask
That's
me.
because now you're an adult.
Yeah. And it's
Isn't it nice?
it's just funny, you know? Therapy, it's good. You should try it. So
It's sort of sad that there's like
it's
Stigma.
very sad.
a whole genre of artistic expression that people assume if you are interested in this genre of artistic
As a male.
expression, then you must be a certain sexual orientation.
And it's been a haven for people to survive from. Like that culturally.
Yeah.
That's why they go, because they're accepted. You know? Oh, we could go further and we can in the future if you want. But like
we're definitely doing a part 2.
So there's a lot like there that we could talk about that's fascinating because it's just a theater, and I say theater in the broad sense of like anything live performance really is like it's been a haven for anybody that's been downtrodden, period. And I'm talking men or women, doesn't matter. And not just sexual orientation, but like in different ways. So it's like, okay, this is where the outcasts, quote unquote, have been put in. It's fascinating. I was kind of a weirdo in that group because I was kind of like Joe Schmo, like I like girls. Like,
You fucking weirdo.
it was great. So like it was.
Listen to this guy. Kelly likes girls.
Exactly. So it's been a fun journey. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. As always, thanks for coming.
You know, usually, I know you're trying to outro, but I just need to tell you, usually you wish there was a button you could
I always want
press,
to press a button on the outro. We don't have one.
and you don't
because
have one, but tonight
We
you
do.
What button is it?
It's the bottom right button.
God.
Bottom right?
Golly,
Do I
yes,
say the
it is.
outro and then hit it?
Of course.
Of course.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. As always, thanks for coming to hang out. You guys are awesome. And we'll see y'all next time.
It's fucking Christmas morning.
Ha 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 ha!